Welcome back, dear friend. Tonight, we're going to journey through the entire history of dragons, from the earliest whispers in ancient myth to their grand appearances in medieval tales and modern culture. Dragons have fascinated, frightened, and inspired us for thousands of years. So, before you get too comfortable, take a moment to like and subscribe, but only if you enjoy the type of content that merges myth and mystery. And hey, let us know from where you are watching and what time it is for you right now. Sometimes our stories are better than sleep, and other times they make you dream louder. It's time now to dim the lights, turn on a fan for some soft noise, and let's cover what we have for tonight together. The origins of the dragon idea. Settle in now, dear friend, and let your mind wander with me. We are going far back in time, back to an age before books, before cities, before even the idea of history itself. Picture small groups of our earliest ancestors gathered around a fire. The night is wide and endless above them, the stars scattered like sparks across the black sky. The world outside their circle of light is filled with sounds, the rustle of unseen animals, the cry of birds, the whisper of the wind. In that dark, uncertain space, imagination takes flight, and from that imagination, the dragon is born. Dragons did not begin as the fully formed creatures we recognize today. They emerged slowly as shadows, as whispers, as half-seen shapes in the mind. The origins of dragons are not tied to one single place or culture, but instead to a pattern of human thought that appeared again and again across the earth. When people faced the things that frightened them most, when they looked for meaning in nature's mysteries, when they tried to make sense of bones buried in stone and thunder rolling across the sky, they gave those mysteries a shape, and that shape was the dragon. Think for a moment about the snake. All over the world, humans have feared serpents. The way they move, silent and sudden, the way they can vanish into the grass and strike without warning. Their venom could kill, their coils could suffocate. To early people, a snake was both real danger and living symbol of death itself. And so, when stories were told around the fire, it was easy to imagine a snake stretched out, larger and larger, until it was no longer just an animal, but a monster, so long it could wrap around a mountain, so fierce it could swallow the sun. In many cultures, the dragon is simply a serpent made immense, but the snake is only the beginning. Imagine a crocodile lurking beneath the surface of a river, eyes barely visible above the water. To step into its path could mean death in an instant. For people living near great rivers like the Nile, the Ganges, or the Yangtze, crocodiles and massive lizards must have seemed like beasts from another world. How natural it would be to add them to the growing picture of the dragon, the body of a serpent, the jaws of a crocodile, the hunger of a predator that waits and waits until the moment comes to strike. Now, lift your gaze to the sky. Watch as an eagle circles overhead, its wings stretching wide, its eyes fixed sharp on the ground below. In a single sweep, it can dive faster than sight, carrying off a rabbit or a fish. For our ancestors, the eagle was not just a bird, it was a hunter that ruled the skies. And what if it were bigger? What if its wings darkened the earth, and instead of carrying a rabbit, it could carry a person? Combine this with the serpent and the crocodile, and suddenly you have a creature that dominates all realms: land, water, and sky. A creature that no one could escape. A creature that feels very much like a dragon. Some scholars today call this the dragon composite hypothesis. It suggests that dragons are a fusion of our three oldest predators: the snake, the big cat, and the bird of prey. Each one was a nightmare to early humans. Together, they created the ultimate predator of the imagination. Whether or not this theory is entirely true, it speaks to a deeper truth. Dragons are fear, given form, but fear alone does not explain everything. Dragons are not just monsters. They are teachers, guardians, even gods. To understand this, we must look beyond predators and into the sky, the earth, and the fire itself. Picture a storm. Clouds gather, dark and heavy. Thunder rumbles like the footsteps of some colossal beast. Lightning tears across the heavens, striking the earth with fire. To early people, what could this be but the breath or anger of some unseen creature? A storm is not just weather. It is alive. It roars. It breathes. It punishes. In story, it becomes the dragon. And when a volcano erupts, when fire and ash pour from the mountain, it is almost impossible not to imagine a creature beneath the earth, exhaling fire in its sleep. And then, the bones. Long before paleontology was a science, people discovered fossils, great curved ribs, teeth longer than a man's hand, skulls that seemed too massive to belong to any living creature. They did not know of dinosaurs or the deep history of the Eve planet. To them, these bones were evidence of giants, of monsters, of dragons. In China, fossil bones were once called dragon bones, and they were ground into powder for medicine. In Greece, they were thought to be the remains of ancient heroes or beasts from the age of gods. Fossils gave proof to what the imagination already suspected: that dragons were real and that they had walked the earth in ages past. But the most important origin of the dragon is not found in snakes, storms, or bones. It is found in story. Humans are storytellers by nature. We tell stories to explain the world, to comfort ourselves, to pass on knowledge. And when we face something mysterious, we create stories to give it shape. The dragon became one of those shapes. It explained the unexplainable, gave form to danger, and created a stage upon which heroes could prove their courage. Notice something remarkable here. Cultures that had no contact with one another all imagined dragons. In Mesopotamia, there was Tiamat, the chaos serpent of the sea. In China, the long, wingless dragons that danced among clouds and rivers. In the Americas, the feathered serpent gods like Quetzalcoatl. In Africa, serpent spirits lived in rivers and caves. Everywhere, the dragon appeared. Not the same dragon, no, but echoes of the same idea. It is as if the human mind, no matter where it lives, dreams the same dream. Why is that? Some psychologists believe that dragons are part of what is called the collective unconscious. Images and symbols that arise naturally in all human minds. They represent something deeper than just animals or storms. They represent chaos and order, fear and wonder, destruction and creation. They are the great opposites of existence, wrapped in scales and wings. Think of how dragons can be both destroyers and protectors. In some stories, they devour whole villages. In others, they guard sacred treasures or even bless those who honor them. The dual nature of the dragon reflects our dual relationship with the unknown. We fear it, but we are also drawn to it. We want to defeat it, but we also want to learn from it. So, as you rest here listening, let your mind drift through the ages. Imagine a hunter in Africa thousands of years ago, telling his tribe of a serpent so vast it could coil around the world. Imagine a farmer in China looking up at a storm cloud and imagining a dragon twisting in the sky. Imagine a shepherd in Greece stumbling upon a fossilized skull and whispering that it must belong to a beast of legend. All these people, scattered across time and place, added their voices to the great chorus of dragon stories. The dragon is not just a creature of myth, it is a reflection of us, our fears, our hopes, our hunger for meaning. When we dreamed of dragons, we dreamed of something larger than ourselves, something that gave shape to the mysteries we could not explain. And that is why dragons are everywhere, why they endure even now. Tonight, as you drift toward sleep, remember this. The dragon's origin is not in one culture, one land, or one moment. Its origin is in the human mind itself. It lives in the flicker of firelight, in the rumble of storms, in the shadows of bones, and most of all, in the stories we tell one another. The dragon is ancient, yes, but it is also eternal, because as long as humans imagine, dragons will never fade. And that, dear friend, is where our journey begins. Dragons in ancient Mesopotamia. Rest easy, dear friend, and let us drift now to the lands between two great rivers, the Tigris and the Euphrates. This is Mesopotamia, the cradle of civilization, where some of the first cities rose from the fertile soil, where writing was born, where myths were etched in clay tablets and preserved for thousands of years. And it is here, among the earliest stories of humankind, that dragons first step onto the stage of history. Close your eyes and picture it. The hot sun beats down on endless plains. Canals carry water through farmlands. Towering ziggurats rise in the distance. Temples built to reach the heavens. Within those temples, priests recite hymns to gods and spirits, while in quiet rooms, scribes press wedges into soft clay, recording epics that will echo through millennia. Among these epics are tales of dragons, beings of chaos, of water, of destruction, and rebirth. The first dragon we meet here is Tiamat. She is not merely a monster, she is primordial. She is the mother of all gods, the embodiment of the endless sea. In the Babylonian creation epic, known as the Enuma Elish, Tiamat is described as a vast and terrible dragon, her body coiled in the waters of chaos. She gives birth to the first generation of gods, but soon Strife arises among them. The younger gods rebel against the older, and war breaks out in heaven. Imagine the scene. Storms clash, rivers rise, and in the heart of this cosmic conflict, Tiamat takes her full dragon form. Her body swells to unimaginable size. She creates an army of monsters to fight at her side: serpents, scorpion men, and fierce beasts with wings and fangs. Her very presence is overwhelming, like the ocean swallowing the earth. For the people of Mesopotamia, Tiamat was not a simple villain. She was the chaos that had to be subdued before the world could exist. Then comes Marduk, the storm god. He is chosen by the younger gods to be their champion, but only under one condition: that if he wins, he will rule over them all. The battle between Marduk and Tiamat is one of the earliest dragon-slaying stories in human history, a tale retold countless times in different forms across the world. Picture it slowly, dreamily. Marduk prepares his weapons. He fashions a net to trap the great dragon. He takes up his bow and his arrows, a club, and the four winds. When Tiamat surges forward, her mouth opening wide like a cavern of darkness, Marduk casts his net. The winds rush inside her, holding her jaws open. With one arrow, he pierces her heart. Tiamat cries out, her voice a roar of oceans collapsing, and she falls. But the story does not end with her death. Marduk takes her enormous body and splits it in two. With one half, he creates the heavens. With the other half, he shapes the earth. From her eyes flow the Tigris and Euphrates rivers. From her blood, the skies are filled with stars. Out of her chaos comes order. Out of her destruction comes creation. The dragon is slain, but in her death, she gives birth to the world itself. For the Babylonians, this story was not just a tale of gods and monsters. It was a way of explaining why order exists at all. The world is not stable by nature. It is born from struggle, from the triumph of cosmos over chaos. And the dragon, Tiamat, represents that chaos. Her vast, watery body mirrors the floods that swept across Mesopotamia, floods that could destroy crops and cities without warning. To conquer Tiamat was to conquer the fear of nature itself. But Tiamat was not the only dragon in Mesopotamian myth. There was also the creature known as Mushushu, the fierce serpent. Its image appears on Babylonian walls and gates, most famously on the Ishtar Gate, one of the wonders of the ancient world. The Mushushu was a long, scaled beast, with the body of a serpent, the forelegs of a lion, the hind legs of a bird, and a horned head. Unlike Tiamat, it was not simply chaos incarnate. It was the servant of gods, a protector of temples, a reminder of divine power. To see its image was to feel both fear and awe. Dragons in Mesopotamia, then, were not only enemies, but also guardians. They embodied the dual role that dragons would carry in myths across the ages. Destroyers on one hand, defenders on the other. They were never simple. They were always layered, always vast. Let your mind drift further to the story of Ninurta, another storm god who battled the Anzu bird. The Anzu was no ordinary bird. It was colossal, with wings that blotted out the sun, with the face of a lion, and the power to steal the tablets of destiny. Though not always called a dragon, the Anzu fits the same archetype, a monstrous being that steals order from the gods, plunging the world into chaos until a hero rises to defeat it. Ninurta's victory over Anzu echoes Marduk's battle with Tiamat, reinforcing the theme. The dragon or dragon-like creature holds back order, and only through struggle can balance be restored. What makes Mesopotamian dragons so fascinating is their closeness to the elements. They are not just beasts in caves or forests. They are rivers, seas, storms, and floods given form. They remind us that ancient people lived at the mercy of nature. A river might nourish the land with fertile silt, but it could also overflow and sweep away entire villages. A storm might bring needed rain, but it could also destroy. The dragon was the story told about those forces, sometimes a mother, sometimes an enemy, always a power beyond human control. Pause now and notice how different this is from the dragons that would later appear in Europe. Those dragons, breathing fire and hoarding gold, were monsters to be slain for glory. But here, in Mesopotamia, the dragon is tied directly to the creation of the world itself. It is a cosmic being, not a mere beast. Tiamat is as much goddess as dragon, as much creator as destroyer. Her presence lingers in every flood, every storm, every mystery of life and death. As you lie here, perhaps you can imagine yourself as one of those ancient scribes, sitting in the glow of an oil lamp, pressing careful marks into a clay tablet. Outside, the Euphrates flows. The temple towers above the city, its bricks painted in deep blues and golds. And within the quiet, you write the story of Marduk and Tiamat, knowing that this tale explains not only the heavens above you, but the very ground beneath your feet. The Mesopotamian dragon is not gone. Its story lives on in every later myth of dragon-slaying heroes, from Hercules to St. George. It lives on in the idea that chaos must always be defeated, that order is precious, fragile, and worth fighting for. And perhaps, most of all, it lives on in us, in the way we still tell stories of monsters, in the way we still see storms as alive, in the way we still dream of dragons. So let your breathing slow, let your mind settle. Imagine the endless waters of chaos. Imagine the great dragon rising, wings unfurling, scales glistening in the dark. Imagine the clash of gods and the fall of the monster, her body becoming the heavens and the earth. This, dear friend, is where dragons first entered the written record of humanity. This is where myth and mystery merged into something timeless. The origins of dragons in Mesopotamia remind us that the line between chaos and creation is thin, that even monsters can be mothers, and that sometimes the end of a dragon is the beginning of the world. And so, the dragon continues its journey from the rivers of Mesopotamia to the deserts of Egypt, from the temples of Babylon to the pyramids along the Nile. But that, dear friend, is a tale for the next part of our story. Egyptian serpent dragons. Now, dear friend, let us leave behind the fertile rivers of Mesopotamia and journey westward across deserts of shifting sands into the ancient land of Egypt. Here, under the eternal gaze of the sun and the slow flow of the Nile, another kind of dragon was born. Unlike the storm-born dragons of Babylon, the Egyptian dragon was a serpent of the night, a coiling enemy of light itself. To understand Egypt's dragons, we must enter a world where gods walk alongside men, where life and death are bound in endless cycles, and where the struggle between order and chaos is written in the stars. Picture the land of Egypt thousands of years ago. The Nile rises each year, spilling its waters across the fields, leaving behind rich black soil. This flooding is both a blessing and a threat. Without it, there is famine, too much of it, and villages drown. Above it all, the sun god Ra sails across the sky in his radiant boat, his golden light sustaining life. At night, Ra descends into the underworld, navigating rivers of darkness to rise again at dawn. And each night, in that hidden realm, a battle takes place. This is where we meet Apep, also called Apophis, the great serpent of chaos. Unlike dragons of later tales, Apep does not hoard treasure or hide in caves. He is the eternal adversary, the embodiment of darkness, coiling endlessly through the underworld. His body is said to stretch for hundreds of feet, his scales glistening in the starlight, his mouth wide enough to swallow the very sun. Apep is not just a serpent, he is the enemy of creation itself. Every night, as Ra sails through the Duat, the Egyptian underworld, Apep rises from the waters of chaos to attack the sun god's boat. Imagine it, the solar bark gliding across a river of shadow, gods standing as guardians, spears in their hands. Suddenly, the waters churn, and from the depths comes the serpent, coils twisting upward, jaws opening wide. The gods cry out. The world trembles. If Apep succeeds, dawn will never come. But each night, Ra and his allies fight him off. Sometimes, Ra himself strikes the serpent with a spear. Sometimes other gods, like Set, take up the battle, standing at the prow of the boat to ward off the beast. And though Apep is always defeated, he is never destroyed. The next night, he rises again, eternal, relentless, the darkness that can never be erased, but only held at bay. This nightly battle was more than myth. For the Egyptians, it explained the most important truth of their world. That order, called Ma'at, was fragile, always under threat from chaos, called Isfet. The dragon serpent Apep was not just a monster. He was the symbol of everything that could unmake existence. Darkness, disorder, destruction. To fight him was to preserve the balance of the cosmos. Now imagine yourself as an ancient Egyptian, lying on a reed mat beneath the night sky. You know that Ra is sailing through the underworld. You know that Apep is rising to strike. The stars above you glitter, but for a moment the night seems darker, heavier, as though the serpent stirs beneath the horizon. You whisper a prayer, joining countless others across the land, willing Ra to triumph so that dawn will come. When at last the first rays of light creep over the desert, you breathe in relief. The dragon has been defeated once more, and the world is safe, at least for another day. Apep was not the only serpent dragon in Egyptian thought. The Nile itself was home to sacred serpents and guardians. Some were benevolent, like Mayhen, the protective serpent who coiled around Ra in his solar boat, shielding him from danger. Unlike Apep, Mayhen was not chaos, but order, a dragon who defended rather than destroyed. Here again, we see the dual nature of dragons, sometimes enemies, sometimes protectors, always powerful. There is also the serpent Nehebkau, a primordial being who was sometimes feared and sometimes revered. In some myths, Nehebkau was born with his body entirely serpent, stretching endlessly across the cosmos. He was said to hold the souls of the dead in his coils, but also to guard them as they entered the afterlife. Like Apep and Mayhen, Nehebkau shows us that the serpent dragon in Egypt was never just one thing. It was both death and protection, both chaos and balance. Why serpents, you might wonder? Why did the Egyptians, like so many cultures, give such power to snakes? Perhaps it is because snakes were ever present along the Nile. They could strike without warning, their venom deadly, but they were also symbols of renewal. A snake sheds its skin, emerging as if reborn, and so it became a natural emblem of immortality and eternity. In the hands of Egyptian priests and artists, the snake grew into something larger than life, something cosmic. The serpent even became part of the crown of the pharaoh. The uraeus, a rearing cobra worn on the brow, symbolized divine authority and protection. To see the cobra rising from the forehead of a king was to know that the king carried the fire of the gods, that he was guarded by serpent power. In this way, the dragon serpent was woven into both religion and politics, both myth and rule. Let us pause here, dear friend, and notice something gentle. Unlike the fire-breathing dragons of Europe, the Egyptian serpent dragons did not need wings or claws to inspire awe. Their power came from their endless, coiling form, from their connection to the deepest forces of existence. They were not animals to be slain, but eternal forces to be understood, feared, or honored. Picture the tombs of the pharaohs, walls painted with scenes of the sun's journey through the underworld. There you see Apep, the vast serpent, writhing in the waters, pierced by spears, bound by chains. You see Ra, shining with golden light, sailing onward despite the attack. These images were not just decoration, they were prayers painted in stone, spells to ensure that even in death, the cycle of night and day, order and chaos, would continue without end. The Egyptians understood something subtle, that chaos can never be destroyed, only balanced. Apep cannot die, for darkness cannot die. Instead, the work of life is to resist him, to hold him back, to preserve the fragile order that allows crops to grow, rivers to flow, and the sun to rise. In this, their serpent dragon myth is deeply human. It reminds us that every day we live is a triumph of order over chaos, of light over shadow. As you listen now, perhaps you can feel the rhythm of that eternal struggle. The sun rises, the sun sets, day follows night, chaos threatens, order returns. It is a cycle, as steady as breathing, as certain as the tide. And within that cycle, the serpent coils and uncoils, never ending. So when we think of dragons in Egypt, we must not imagine fire and wings. We must imagine the river and the night, the serpent beneath the horizon, the endless struggle that makes each dawn a miracle. Apep, Mehen, Nehebkau, these are not just monsters. They are the heartbeat of a civilization that saw the world not as a battle to win once, but as a balance to preserve forever. And as you drift toward sleep, think of the Nile glistening under moonlight, the stars wheeling slowly above, the hiss of the desert wind, Somewhere in that vast silence, a serpent stirs, rising to challenge the sun. But you know, as the Egyptians knew, that the sun will return, that the serpent will be driven back, and that the cycle will continue again and again, as long as the world endures. This, dear friend, is the story of Egypt's dragons, not beasts in caves, but eternal serpents of night and balance, guardians and enemies of the sun. Dragons in ancient India. Settle back, dear friend, and let us now travel eastward, leaving behind the sands of Egypt and the waters of the Nile. Our journey takes us across mountains and plains into the heart of the Indian subcontinent, where the rhythms of the monsoon shape the land, where sacred rivers flow, and where stories have been told for thousands of years in chants, hymns, and epics. It is here, in India, that the dragon takes a new form, sometimes terrifying, sometimes protective, always tied to the elements of water, fertility, and life itself. When we speak of dragons in India, we must speak of the Nagas. Picture them now, half human, half serpent, beings of power and mystery. Their bodies coil with the grace of snakes, yet their faces are often human, adorned with jewels and crowns. They live beneath the earth and in the depths of rivers and lakes, guardians of treasures both material and spiritual. They are not merely beasts to be feared. They are divine beings, worshipped and honored, capable of both blessing and destruction. But before the Nagas, there was another serpent, a dragon of primeval legend. In the ancient Vedic hymns, some of the oldest religious texts in the world, there is a story of the dragon Vritra. Vritra was a massive serpent, a dragon who held back the waters of the world. He coiled around the rivers, hoarding them, refusing to release them to the land. Without the waters, the earth withered, crops failed, people suffered. Vritra was not only a dragon, he was drought itself, the embodiment of withered fields and empty skies. Then came Indra, the storm god, wielder of the thunderbolt. Indra, like Marduk in Mesopotamia, became the hero who faced the dragon. Armed with his mighty weapon, the Vajra, Indra sought out Vritra. Imagine the scene as a dream, the sky darkening with storm clouds, thunder rumbling across the heavens, lightning splitting the air. Indra raises his thunderbolt, glowing with divine fire. Vritra, vast and coiling, hisses in defiance, his scales shimmering like black stone, his coils gripping the rivers tightly. The battle is fierce. Indra strikes with the thunderbolt, and the dragon writhes. Again and again, the god attacks, until at last, Vritra is slain. With his death, the rivers burst forth, rushing across the land, filling the dry earth with life once more. Crops rise, fields green, and people rejoice. Vritra's defeat is not just the killing of a monster, it is the return of balance, the restoration of fertility, the assurance that life can continue. The story of Indra and Vritra, like the tale of Marduk and Tiamat, is one of chaos subdued, of a dragon slain to bring order. But notice the difference. In Mesopotamia, the dragon's body became the world itself. In India, the dragon held back the waters, and his death released them. Both myths connect dragons to the life-giving force of water, sometimes as its embodiment, sometimes as its keeper, and both reflect the deep truth that life depends on balance with nature, a balance that is fragile, always under threat. Now let us return to the Nagas, for they are perhaps the most enduring dragon figures in Indian tradition. The Nagas are not villains like Vritra. They are complex beings, feared for their wrath, but also revered as protectors. They dwell in hidden palaces beneath rivers and lakes, their homes filled with jewels and treasures. To encounter a Naga is to step into a realm of mystery where the human and the serpent intertwine. Nagas are associated with fertility and rainfall. In a land shaped by the monsoon, where the arrival of rain meant survival, the Nagas became symbols of abundance. People offered them prayers and sacrifices, hoping for their favor, fearing their anger. A displeased Naga might withhold the rains or send floods, while a pleased one might bless the land with prosperity. They were, in essence, the living spirits of water itself. In Buddhist traditions, too, the Nagas play an important role. One story tells of the Buddha meditating beneath the Bodhi tree during a heavy storm. As the rains poured down, a great Naga king named Mukalinda rose from his lake. Seeing the Buddha, he spread his serpent hood wide, sheltering the enlightened one from the storm, coiling his body around him to keep him safe. When the rains passed, the Naga king transformed into a young man, bowed, and returned to his home. Here, the dragon serpent is not an enemy, but a protector of wisdom, a guardian of enlightenment. Another story tells of Nagas guarding sacred texts, treasures, and relics deep beneath the earth. To approach them requires purity, for they will not give their gifts to the unworthy. This theme, the dragon as guardian of hidden treasures, is one that echoes across the world. But in India, the treasure is often spiritual as well as material, knowledge as much as gold. The Nagas also appear in epic tales, such as the Mahabharata. One famous story tells of Arjuna, one of the great heroes, marrying Ulupi, a Naga princess. Through this union, the worlds of humans and Nagas intertwine, showing again how dragons in India are not simply monsters to be defeated, but beings with whom humans can form bonds, even families. Let us linger for a moment on the image of the Naga itself. Imagine a river at twilight, its surface calm, reflecting the fading light of the sun. Beneath those waters lies a palace of shining gems, walls glowing softly, floors made of pearl. Within, Nagas move gracefully, their scales shimmering, their crowns gleaming. They are both beautiful and fearsome, beings who command awe. To see one rise from the water would be to glimpse something sacred, something that connects the human world with the mysteries of nature. The presence of serpents in Indian mythology is not surprising. India is home to many snakes, cobras, vipers, pythons, creatures that inspire fear and respect. But in the Indian imagination, as in Egypt, the serpent is not only a symbol of danger, it is also a symbol of renewal, of eternity, of hidden wisdom. To shed one's skin is to be reborn, and so the serpent becomes an emblem of cycles, of death and rebirth. of the endless turning of life. In Hindu iconography, even the great god Vishnu rests upon the coils of the serpent Shesha, sometimes called Ananta, the Endless One. Picture it now, Vishnu, serene and eternal, reclining on the vast serpent that floats upon the cosmic ocean. Shesha, with his many hoods, shelters the god, while from Vishnu's navel grows a lotus, and from that lotus arises Brahma, the creator. Here, the serpent dragon is not a foe at all, but the very foundation of the universe, the bed upon which eternity rests. This vision is deeply peaceful, a reminder that not all dragons are enemies. Some are the ground of existence itself, the endless coils upon which creation lies. To imagine Shisha is to imagine the infinite, a serpent whose body stretches beyond time, supporting the gods, carrying the weight of the cosmos. And so, in India, the dragon takes many shapes. As Vritra, he is the hoarder of waters, the bringer of drought, slain by the storm god to release life. As Nega, he is the guardian of rivers and treasures, a being of both wrath and blessing, feared and revered. As Shesha, he is the endless serpent, the foundation of the universe, upon whom even the gods rely. Pause now, dear friend, and notice how gentle these stories become when told in the rhythm of sleep. The hiss of the serpent becomes the whisper of the wind. The coiling body becomes the flowing of the river. The dragon's power becomes the steady pulse of life itself. So as you rest, let your thoughts drift like rivers, uncoiling from the dragon's grasp. Imagine the monsoon rains falling, fields greening, life returning. Imagine a Naga rising from the waters, his jeweled crown glimmering softly. Imagine Vishnu reclining upon the endless coils of Shesha, floating in eternal calm. These are the dragons of India, mighty, yes, but also sacred, woven into the very fabric of existence. Chinese dragons, symbols of power. Welcome back, dear friend. We have walked through Mesopotamia, Egypt, and India, and now our path takes us east once more toward the great rivers and sweeping mountains of China. Here, the dragon takes on a form unlike the creatures we have met so far. In Mesopotamia, the dragon was chaos to be slain. In Egypt, it was a serpent of threat, forever opposed to the sun. In India, the dragon could hoard or bless the waters, embodying the cycles of drought and fertility. But in China, the dragon is something else entirely. It is not simply a monster, not merely a danger, nor even only a guardian. In China, the dragon is exalted. It is noble. It is revered as the very spirit of life, power, and prosperity. Imagine now the form of the Chinese dragon. It is not the fire-breathing beast of medieval Europe. It does not lumber with heavy wings or breathe destruction upon villages. Instead, it is long and graceful, like a serpent stretching across the sky. Its body is covered in shimmering scales, often said to be like those of a carp, a fish of resilience and transformation. Its claws are those of an eagle, sharp and commanding. Its whiskered face combines the majesty of many animals, the horns of a stag, the eyes of a demon or sometimes of a tiger, the mane of a lion, the ears of a cow. It is a composite creature, formed from the noblest parts of the animal kingdom. each feature carrying symbolic weight. Unlike in many other cultures, the dragon in China is not the enemy of humanity. It is a friend, a protector, a symbol of power that brings rain for crops, strength to rulers, and good fortune to all. Its body does not coil around treasures in dark caves, but dances among clouds, swimming through the sky as effortlessly as a fish through water. It does not dwell only in shadow. It moves in the open air, a force of nature that brings blessing and harmony. In Chinese tradition, the dragon is deeply tied to water. It rules over the rain, the rivers, the lakes, and the seas. To see the dragon is to see the cycle of life itself, for without water, there can be no harvest, no sustenance, no civilization. Chinese farmers, living for centuries at the mercy of drought or flood, came to see the dragon as the master of their fate, the one who decided whether the fields would flourish or fail. To honor the dragon was to seek balance with the forces of nature. Let us step into one of the oldest Chinese myths, the tale of the four dragon kings. Long ago, it is said, there were four dragons who lived in the seas of the east, west, north, and south. They were great and powerful beings, but they cared for the people of the land who lived under the rule of the Jade Emperor, the ruler of heaven. One year, a terrible drought struck. The fields cracked, the rivers shrank, the people cried out. In desperation, they prayed to the Jade Emperor to send rain, but their pleas went unanswered. The dragons, watching from the sea, could not bear to see the suffering, and so they rose from the waves, soaring into the sky, and carried water in their mighty jaws, spraying it over the land as rain. The fields drank, the crops revived, the people rejoiced, but the Jade Emperor, proud and angered that the dragons had acted without his command, punished them. He ordered the mountains to imprison them, binding them beneath stone. Yet even there, the dragons remained devoted to the people. From their imprisonment, they transformed into mighty rivers, the Yellow River, the Yangtze, and others, that flowed forever across the land, bringing life and sustenance to countless generations. This story captures the essence of the Chinese dragon, a being of immense power, sometimes at odds with authority, yet always a benefactor to humankind. Unlike the monsters of other myths, these dragons gave of themselves to nurture the earth. The dragon also became inseparable from the image of the emperor himself. In ancient China, the emperor was often called the son of heaven, the divine link between the heavens and the people, and his symbol was the dragon. The emperor's throne was the dragon throne. His robes were dragon robes, embroidered with golden coils that seemed to writhe in silk. To sit in his court was to stand beneath the gaze of the dragon, a reminder of both majesty and responsibility. Only the emperor could use the five-clawed dragon, while nobles and officials were restricted to dragons with fewer claws. A careful hierarchy woven even into the imagery of myth. For the people, the dragon was also a guardian of prosperity and luck. During festivals, dragons appear in dances, long-cloth creatures carried by dozens of performers, weaving through the streets, mimicking the serpent's graceful coils. Firecrackers pop, drums beat, lanterns glow, and the dragon dances in celebration. This is not a beast of fear, but a creature of joy, a bridge between heaven and earth, moving through the rhythms of music and community. But the dragon is not only festive, it is spiritual. In Taoist and Buddhist traditions, dragons are seen as celestial beings, guardians of wisdom, often dwelling in palaces beneath the sea or in hidden heavenly realms. They are said to guard sacred texts, treasures of the spirit, pearls of enlightenment. To encounter a dragon in a dream or vision is a sign of great blessing, perhaps even of destiny. Let us pause and imagine the dragon in meditation. Picture yourself standing beside a quiet river in China, the water reflecting the moonlight. The night is still, save for the whisper of the breeze through reeds. Suddenly, the surface of the water ripples, rising slowly, silently. A dragon emerges. Its whiskers trail softly in the current. Its scales glimmer like moonlit jade, and its eyes hold both fierceness and kindness. It coils gracefully, a living river, a serpent of the skies, and without a sound, it drifts upward into the night, dissolving into the clouds. Such is the dragon of China, mysterious, gentle, yet filled with awe. The dragon is also tied to the great cosmic balance of yin and yang, often paired with the phoenix, another sacred creature. The dragon represents yang, power, activity, the masculine principle, while the phoenix embodies yin, grace, receptivity, the feminine principle. Together, they symbolize harmony, balance, the union of opposites that creates wholeness. At weddings, the dragon and phoenix are often depicted together, representing the joining of man and woman, strength and beauty, balance and prosperity. In Chinese cosmology, dragons were believed to live in the heavens, in the seas, and even in the earth itself. Some were benevolent, celestial dragons, pulling chariots of the gods through the sky. Others were terrestrial, ruling rivers and mountains. Still others were hidden, waiting to reveal themselves when the world was in need. Their variety reflects the endless imagination of a culture that saw dragons not as a single story, but as a vast family of beings. Perhaps most importantly, the dragon in China is never far from the idea of transformation. The carp, leaping with all its strength, is said to transform into a dragon if it can ascend the Dragon Gate waterfall. This story, known as the carp leaping the Dragon Gate, became a symbol of perseverance, of effort rewarded, of the humble becoming great, scholars striving for success in their exams, families hoping for the rise of their children. All saw in this story a promise. With determination, even the lowliest fish may become a dragon. So the Chinese dragon is not only a symbol of rulers and gods, it is also a symbol of hope for every person. It tells us that greatness is possible, that transformation awaits those who strive. It is a dream of transcendence, of rising above the ordinary into the extraordinary. As we lie here, drifting between thought and dream, let us see the dragon not as a fearsome monster, but as a gentle, flowing presence. Imagine its long body weaving through the clouds, its whiskers brushing against the stars. Imagine rain falling softly, fields greening, rivers flowing with life. Imagine emperors seated on dragon thrones, their robes gleaming with golden scales. Imagine villagers dancing in the streets, carrying a dragon of cloth and light, celebrating life and renewal. The dragon of China is not only a creature of myth, it is a part of identity, woven into art, language, and culture. To this day, the dragon is beloved, its image found everywhere, from porcelain vases to national festivals, from the architecture of temples to the pages of poetry. It is not something to be slain, but something to be honored, something that reminds us of the bond between humanity and the natural world, between heaven and earth. So as your eyes grow heavy, let the Chinese dragon drift into your dreams, not as a monster, but as a guide, a being of clouds and water, power and wisdom, reminding you that even in the vastness of the world, harmony is possible. That strength can be gentle, that power can be benevolent, and that transformation is always within reach. Dragons in Norse and Germanic mythology. Close your eyes now and imagine the far north. The air is crisp and sharp, carrying with it the scent of pine and snow. Mountains rise in the distance, their peaks lost to mist. The seas are dark and restless, waves crashing upon rocky shores. In this stark and haunting landscape lived the Norse and Germanic peoples, whose myths were filled with gods, giants, and creatures of the deep earth. Here, too, dragons appear, dragons unlike those of China's skies or India's rivers. In the north, dragons embody greed, destruction, and the shadow side of human ambition. Where the Chinese dragon blesses with rain, the Norse dragon curses with hunger. Where the Indian naga guards balance, the Norse serpent seeks ruin. These are not benevolent guardians, but monstrous presences lurking beneath the surface of existence, always threatening to rise. Let us begin with one of the greatest of these northern dragons, Nidhugger. Deep beneath the roots of Yggdrasil, the great world tree that binds the cosmos together, dwells Nidhugger, a dragon of endless hunger. Imagine Yggdrasil now. Its branches stretch across the heavens, shading the 9 realms. Its trunk is mighty, its roots plunge deep into soil, stone, and mystery, and gnawing always at its base is Nidhugger, the dread serpent, who seeks to bring ruin to all creation. Nidhugger chews at the roots, hoping to weaken the tree, to bring about its collapse. His presence is constant, a reminder that decay and destruction are as much a part of existence as growth and life. The image is powerful. All the beauty of the world rests upon roots gnawed by a dragon. And though the tree endures, the threat never ends. From time to time, Nidhogger receives messages from above. A squirrel named Ratatosker scurries up and down the trunk of Yggdrasil, carrying insults between Nidhogger below and an eagle that dwells high in the branches. This strange exchange of mockery between sky and underworld, between eagle and dragon, shows the eternal tension woven into Norse myth, light and darkness, order and chaos, forever at odds, yet bound together. When Ragnarok, the doom of the gods, finally comes, Nidhugger will rise. The dragon will shake free from the roots, carrying with it corpses, symbols of death and ruin. It will sweep across the world, one of many monstrous forces that herald the end. In the Norse imagination, dragons are not just creatures, they are apocalyptic beings tied to the end of time itself. But Nidhogger is not the only dragon to haunt the sagas. Let us turn now to another, Fafnir, perhaps the most famous of all northern dragons. Fafnir's story begins not with scales and wings, but with greed. He was once a dwarf, a being of craft and cunning, known for his strength and fierceness. With his brothers, he came into possession of a treasure, a hoard so vast that it shimmered with gold and jewels. But the hoard was cursed, for it contained the ring Andvaranaut, a ring that brought ruin to all who possessed it. Greed consumed Fafnir. He turned against his own kin, killing to claim the treasure for himself, and in his obsession, he transformed. No longer a dwarf, he became a dragon, monstrous and twisted, embodying the greed that devoured him. He slithered away to a desolate place, and there he lay upon his hoard, day and night, guarding it with suspicion, breathing venom, striking at all who came near. The hero Sigurd, also known as Siegfried in later Germanic legend, was destined to face him. With cunning, Sigurd dug a trench, waiting beneath it as Fafnir crawled to a stream to drink. And there, from beneath, Sigurd drove his sword upward into the dragon's belly, piercing his heart. The dragon roared, his venom spilling, his lifeblood soaking the ground. But before he died, Fafnir spoke. He warned Sigurd of the curse, telling him the treasure would bring only doom, and in his dying breath, he gave a glimpse into the darkness of greed, into the way gold can corrupt, twisting men into monsters. Sigurd, however, did not heed the warning. He took the treasure, and with it, the curse followed him, shaping his fate in tragedy. This story is not just about a dragon, it is about the dangers of desire. The dragon is greed itself, turned flesh and scale, a being born from within rather than without. In the Norse and Germanic imagination, to hoard wealth, to obsess over it, is to become less than human, to become dragon. This theme appears again and again in European myths and legends. The dragon is the guardian of gold, but more than that, it is gold's corruption, its hunger, its inescapable curse. The treasure is never freely given. It must be won by force, and yet even victory brings ruin. The dragon in these tales is a mirror. It reflects back to us the shadow of ambition, the danger of possession, the way desire can consume. Unlike the dragons of China, who offer prosperity and rain, the dragons of the north remind us that not all wealth is blessing, and not all victory is triumph. We can also find dragons in the sagas and poems of the broader Germanic tradition. In the Old English epic Beowulf, the final foe faced by the hero is a dragon. After a long life of valor, Beowulf must confront a beast that has guarded a treasure hoard for centuries. When a servant steals a single cup from the hoard, the dragon wakes in fury, unleashing fire upon the land. Beowulf, now an old king, cannot allow his people to suffer. He dons his armor once more and goes to face the dragon. The battle is fierce, the flames consuming, the struggle desperate. Beowulf's sword fails him, his shield melts beneath the heat, and it is only with the help of a loyal warrior, Wiglaf, that the dragon is slain. Yet Beowulf himself is mortally wounded. His last moments are spent gazing upon the treasure, knowing it has brought only death. The story echoes that of Fafnir. The dragon is the greed of ages past, guarding wealth that cannot bring happiness, only destruction. The hero who slays the dragon often finds his own doom in the process, as if to say, you cannot conquer greed without paying its price. Let us pause here, dear friend, and linger in the quiet of these northern tales. Imagine the firelight flickering against the wooden walls of a Viking hall, voices rising in song as skalds recite the old stories. The people listen, knowing the truth woven within, that gold is dangerous, that power corrupts, that dragons are not just beasts, but symbols of what lies within the human heart. Dragons in the north are not rainbringers. They are not celestial guides. They are warnings. They tell us that the treasures we desire may destroy us, that obsession can transform us, that even the strongest heroes cannot escape the shadow of greed. Yet there is also awe in these dragons. They are terrible, yes, but also magnificent. To imagine Nidhogger beneath Yggdrasil is to imagine the universe itself balanced upon a knife's edge, life growing even as death gnaws. To imagine Fafnir is to imagine the raw, unending hunger of desire, terrible and captivating. To imagine Beowulf's dragon is to imagine the inevitability of mortality, the final foe that none can escape. Dragons here are not merely monsters, they are truths wrapped in scale and fire, truths about life, death, and the costs of ambition. So, as you drift now, perhaps you can hear the distant roar of a dragon beneath the earth, or the hiss of venom in the roots of Yggdrasil. Perhaps you can see the gleam of treasure in the dark, and the shadow of wings spread over it. Perhaps you feel the heat of fire, the weight of fate, the solemnity of endings, and yet, beyond fear, there is understanding. The Norse dragon does not simply terrify, it teaches. It whispers of the dangers that lie not in the sky above, but in the heart within. And as your eyes grow heavier, you may find that the dragon fades into dream, its roar softening into the crackle of the hearth, its fire dimming into the warmth of sleep. Dragons in Greek and Roman myths. Settle yourself now, close your eyes, and let your mind wander back to the cradles of Mediterranean civilization. The air is heavy with the scent of myrtle and laurel. The sea shimmers with golden sunlight, and in the distance you hear the faint strumming of a lyre. This is the world of Greece and Rome, where gods and mortals mingled, where heroes pursued glory, and where dragons, fearsome, serpentine, and cunning, lurked at the edges of every tale. Unlike the dragons of China, who bring life-giving rain, or the dragons of Norse myth, who embody greed, the dragons of Greece and Rome often served as trials, obstacles placed in the paths of heroes, guardians of sacred places, or manifestations of divine wrath. To face a dragon in these myths was to confront chaos, danger, and sometimes the will of the gods themselves. Let us begin with one of the earliest and most terrifying of all, the monstrous serpent, Typhon. Typhon, the father of monsters. Picture the earth shaking, mountains trembling as Typhon rises from the depths. He is no ordinary dragon, but a titan serpent of unimaginable scale. His body is said to stretch from earth to the stars, his arms reaching across horizons, his hands wielding serpents for fingers. His lower half is coiled with endless snakes, hissing and writhing, and his eyes blaze with fire. From his mouths, many mouths, pour flames and storm winds. In the theogony of Hesiod, Typhon is born of Gaia, the earth herself, and Tartarus, the abyss beneath the world. He is sent forth as a final weapon against the Olympian gods, a challenge to Zeus himself. The clash between Zeus and Typhon is cataclysmic. Thunderbolts against flame, storm against storm, the heavens shattering with their fury. The battle rages across the land until at last Zeus hurls Typhon down, trapping him beneath Mount Etna in Sicily. Even today, the eruptions of Etna are said to be the breath and fire of Typhon, writhing beneath the mountain, waiting for his chance to rise again. Here, the dragon is not just a monster, it is a force of nature, a symbol of the earth's fury, bound but never truly defeated. Ladon, the guardian of the golden apples from fiery chaos. We turn now to the Garden of the Hesperides, a place of beauty and serenity at the edge of the world. Here grows the tree that bears golden apples, fruits of immortality planted by Hera herself. To guard the tree, Hera placed Ladon, a great serpent dragon, coiled endlessly around the trunk. Ladon is described as many-headed, a shimmering serpent whose gaze never falters. Day and night he watches, his body twined among the branches, scales glittering like jewels. His very presence makes the golden fruit untouchable, for no hero dares approach while Ladon coils so tightly around the tree. Yet, as with all dragons of Greece, Ladon's fate is sealed by a hero. As one of his 12 labors, Heracles is sent to fetch the golden apples. Accounts differ. Some say he slew Ladon with his bow, piercing him from afar. Others whisper that Atlas, who bore the heavens, stole the apples for Heracles, while Ladon hissed and struck in vain. Whatever the truth, the image remains. A serpent guarding a tree of divine reward, defeated by human cunning and divine favor. And as Ladon died, the sky wept. His blood, some said, fell as drops of crimson across the land, giving rise to the constellation Draco, the dragon, forever coiled among the stars, the Colchian dragon, guardian of the golden fleece. Let us journey next to Colchis, a land far from Greece, on the shores of the Black Sea. Here hung the golden fleece, shimmering with divine radiance, a symbol of kingship and authority. And here too was a dragon, enormous and sleepless, coiled about the tree where the fleece was displayed. This dragon was no ordinary beast. Some said it never closed its eyes, never rested, forever vigilant. Its body glowed with a supernatural fire, and its roar was like the grinding of mountains. To attempt to steal the fleece was to face certain death, yet Jason, leader of the Argonauts, came to claim it. With him was Medea, a sorceress of great power. She brewed potions and whispered charms, lulling the dragon into sleep. Imagine, dear listener, the great serpent's eyes flickering, its coils loosening as the spell took hold. For the first time in eternity, the guardian slept, and Jason slipped past to claim the fleece. The Colchian dragon is not slain, but subdued. Here, cunning and enchantment triumph where brute force might have failed. It is a different lesson. Not all dragons must be fought with sword and spear. Some yield to magic, to persuasion, to softer powers. Python, the serpent of Delphian, the heart of Greece, lies Delphi, the navel of the world, where the oracle spoke the will of Apollo. Yet before Apollo claimed it, Delphi belonged to another, the dragon serpent Python. Python was a great earth dragon, born of Gaia. It coiled among the caves and springs of Delphi, guarding the sacred site. But Apollo, seeking to establish his oracle, came to slay it. With bow and arrow, he pursued Python, driving it across the land until at last he struck it down. From that moment, Apollo claimed Delphi as his own, and the Pythian Games were established in memory of the serpent. Even in death, the dragon gave its name, Pythian, from Python, forever tying the memory of the serpent to Apollo's sacred place. This tale shows us yet another face of the dragon. Here, it is not greed nor chaos, but a guardian of Earth's secrets, swept aside by the god of light and prophecy. The dragon falls, and in its place rises a new order, Roman echoes and adaptations. When Rome absorbed Greece, it absorbed its myths as well, reshaping them in its own image. The Romans told of Hercules, of Apollo, of Jason, carrying forward the dragon serpents of Greece. But they also added their own layers. For the Romans, dragons often became symbols of foreign lands and enemies, monstrous embodiments of the other beyond the borders of empire. On mosaics and carvings, dragons slithered as decorations, reminders of the exotic and the dangerous. In military standards, serpent-like dragons unfurled in the wind, their cloth bodies rippling, their gaping mouths whistling as soldiers marched. To the Romans, dragons were both real and symbolic. Travelers' tales brought back stories of giant serpents in Africa and India, and Roman naturalists like Pliny the Elder recorded them as though they were real creatures. The boundary between myth and nature blurred. Themes of Greek and Roman dragons. When we pause to look at these tales together, a pattern emerges. The dragons of Greece and Rome are almost always guardians, guardians of treasures, of sacred sites, of divine order. To face a dragon is to prove one's worth. To claim a prize meant only for the boldest. Unlike the Norse dragons, who are the embodiment of greed itself, the dragons of Greece and Rome stand outside the hero as trials to be overcome. They are gatekeepers of destiny. Heracles could not claim the apples without facing Ladon. Jason could not claim the fleece without soothing the Colchian dragon. Apollo could not claim Delphi without defeating Python. The dragon, in this sense, is the final challenge. Before reward, the shadow before light. And yet, there is also tragedy in their stories. Ladon, who watched faithfully for eternity, was slain for doing his duty. Python, child of the earth, was cut down by a god's ambition. Even Typhon, whose flames shook the world, was bound beneath mountains, his rage forever stifled. The dragon's fate is always defeat, but never without leaving its mark upon the world. A constellation, a festival, a prophecy, a mountain's fire, dragons in Celtic and British mythology. Now, let us drift gently westward across the seas, where mist clings to green hills, and the air carries the scent of rain-soaked earth and wildflowers. We arrive in the lands of the Celts and the early peoples of Britain, where stories were whispered beside fires carved into stones and sung in the haunting melodies of bards. Here, dragons are neither entirely destructive nor entirely benevolent. They are symbols of power, sovereignty, and the mysterious forces that shape both land and human destiny. In the Celtic imagination, dragons often represent the earth itself. They are tied to mountains, hills, rivers, and ley lines, vital places of energy and magic. To see a dragon in these myths is to see the pulse of the land, its hidden power, its ancient memory. Dragons guard treasures, yes, but not always gold. Sometimes they guard sacred knowledge, the hidden truths of the world, or the sovereignty of a kingdom. Let us begin with the red and white dragons of Welsh legend, a story recorded in the Historia Brittonum and retold through generations, whispering of battles far older than memory. Long ago, the land of Britain was not yet fully united. Kings fought, armies marched, and the sky was watched for omens. One day, a great battle of dragons began in the clouds. A red dragon rose, fierce and burning, the symbol of the native Britons. Its scales glowed like fire beneath a stormy sky. Its wings stretched across horizons, and its roar shook mountains. Against it rose a white dragon, cold and pale, the emblem of invading forces seeking to claim the land for themselves. The dragons clashed, their wings whipping the clouds, their claws tearing the air. Each strike echoed like thunder. Each coil stirred the winds. For days and nights they battled, neither willing to yield, until the red dragon finally triumphed. The native Britons, seeing the dragon's victory, took it as a sign that their land would endure, that their spirit would survive against the invader. In this tale, the dragon is not just a beast, but a symbol of national identity, of resilience, of the spirit of a people bound to the land. Its presence reminds us that power is not always brute force. Sometimes it is a flame that burns within, a strength tied to history, memory, and courage. Another tale brings us to the story of the dragon of Dinas Emrys, a hill in Wales shrouded in mist and legend. A king sought to build a fortress upon the hill, but every night the walls he built fell apart. His magicians and wise men declared that the cause was magical, and so a boy named Merlin was consulted. Merlin revealed that beneath the hill slept two dragons, one red, one white, locked in endless battle. The red dragon fought for the land of Britain, while the white dragon represented foreign invaders. As the dragons struggled beneath the earth, their roars caused the walls to collapse. Only when the red dragon triumphed could the fortress stand. Here again, dragons are tied to the land itself, creatures whose power flows through stone and soil, shaping the fortunes of kings and the fate of nations. Celtic dragons are also guardians of sacred knowledge. In some stories, they dwell in hidden lakes, beneath ancient stones, or in caves that echo with the song of the wind. Their treasure is not gold alone, but wisdom, magic, or the secrets of the past. To confront a dragon is to confront one's own courage, one's understanding of the world, and sometimes one's destiny. Let us imagine such a dragon now. Picture a misty valley in the early morning, dew shimmering on wild grass. From a hidden cave emerges a dragon, its scales a deep green that reflects the forest canopy, its eyes glowing like amber. It moves silently, its breath mingling with the fog. It is old, older than the hills themselves, and its gaze carries the weight of centuries. To look into those eyes is to see not only a creature, but the memory of 1,000 generations, the pulse of the land itself, and the quiet power that flows beneath every stone and river. Dragons in Celtic lore are often linked to kingship. In Welsh tradition, the appearance of a dragon can be a sign of divine favor, marking a rightful ruler. They are creatures of prophecy, omens, and destiny. When a dragon appears, it signals change, a turning of fortune, a shift in power. And because the Celts saw the natural and spiritual worlds as intertwined, dragons are both earthly and magical, alive in stone, river, hill, and sky, yet always speaking to human hearts. The Irish, too, tell stories of dragons, often entwined with heroes and magical adventures. One tale tells of a dragon that guards a magical cauldron, a vessel of power, wisdom, or endless abundance. Only the bravest or most cunning can approach it. The dragon tests the hero's worth, sometimes through combat, sometimes through cleverness. These encounters show a pattern. In Celtic and British myth, dragons are challenges and teachers, reflecting the idea that power and wisdom are not simply given, but must be earned through courage, perseverance, and insight. Even in later medieval tales, such as those of King Arthur and his knights, dragons appear. In some stories, they are monstrous beasts terrorizing villages, demanding tribute, fire, and teeth. In others, they are guardians, appearing in dreams or visions to guide heroes. The duality remains. Dragons are danger and wisdom, destruction and protection, ever tied to the landscape and to human destiny. Imagine, if you will, the soft murmur of a stream winding through an ancient forest. Beneath its banks, hidden from view, coils a dragon. Its scales glint faintly in the filtered sunlight. It does not move unless provoked, yet it is aware of everything: the footsteps of animals, the growth of trees, the passing of seasons. It is patient, eternal, a quiet keeper of the land's secrets. In the Celtic imagination, this is the dragon's true nature, not a mindless monster, but a being intertwined with the earth, with time itself. Dragons are also symbolic of elemental power. Fire, water, earth, and air all flow through these creatures. A dragon in a hill might guard the fire of the earth. A river dragon might control the waters, and a sky dragon might bring storms. In their movements and presence, the forces of nature are mirrored. They are the rhythm of the land, made flesh, a reminder that the world is alive, conscious, and magical. As you listen and drift further, you may feel the hills rise beneath your imagination, the rivers winding softly, the mists curling around hidden caves. You may sense the presence of dragons waiting silently, their eyes reflecting stars and centuries, their bodies coiled beneath the soil, watching, knowing, guiding. They are patient, eternal, and connected to every root and stone, every human heart that walks the land above. In the stories of the Celts and the early British peoples, dragons teach us that the land is alive, that power is sacred, and that wisdom comes not from conquest alone, but from understanding, courage, and respect for the forces that move beneath the surface. They are symbols of sovereignty, of challenge, of the mysteries that lie just out of reach, waiting for those brave enough to seek them. Dragons in Slavic mythology. Now, let us drift gently eastward into the vast forests, rivers, and plains of Eastern Europe, where the Slavic peoples once told their stories beside flickering hearths and under star-filled skies. In this world of deep woods, winding rivers, and hidden glades, dragons appear as creatures of both danger and wonder, often tied to natural forces, magic, and human fate. Here, the dragons are fearsome and clever, guardians and villains, embodying the mysteries of life and the unpredictable power of the natural world. In Slavic mythology, one of the most common types of dragon is the Zmai, sometimes called Zmi or Zmai Gorenik. These dragons often have multiple heads, 3, 6, or even 12, and each head possesses a mind of its own, sometimes acting independently, sometimes speaking in unison. Imagine now a creature emerging from a dark forest or mountain cave, its scales glinting like metal, its many eyes glowing with fire. Its breath is smoke and flame, its roar shakes the trees, and its wings, when spread, cast shadows that blot out the moon. One of the most famous Slavic dragons is Zmej Gorenik, a three-headed serpent dragon that guards treasures and kidnaps princesses. Each head can spew fire, creating a vortex of heat and smoke that no ordinary hero can endure. Zmej Gorenik is cunning and relentless. No one can approach him without careful planning, magical aid, or great courage. He is not merely a monster. He is a test, a challenge placed upon the hero to prove valor, wit, and determination. These dragons often appear in Russian and Ukrainian fairy tales, known as byliny. Heroes like Dobrynya Nikitich or Alyosha Popovich face dragons not just to claim treasure, but to defend their villages, rescue the innocent, and restore balance to their world. The dragon in these stories is an embodiment of chaos, of greed, or of the wildness of untamed nature. To defeat the dragon is to restore order, yet the battle is rarely simple. The dragon's cunning can rival the hero's, and sometimes it escapes to return again, reminding us that danger and challenge are never fully gone. Slavic dragons are deeply connected to the elements. Some are water dragons, dwelling in rivers, lakes, or deep wells, controlling floods and storms. Imagine a river at dawn, mist curling above the water, Beneath its calm surface coils a dragon, its scales shimmering like silver fish, its eyes glowing faintly. When angered, the water churns and swells, floods the fields, and threatens villages. But when respected, these water dragons can bring rainfall for crops, sustenance for life, and blessings for those who honor them. Other dragons are tied to fire or mountains, dwelling in volcanic or rocky regions, breathing flames that can melt stone and gold alike. Some dragons carry curses within their hoards, treasures that bring misfortune, greed, or strife to anyone who dares claim them. This theme echoes through Slavic mythology. Wealth and power are never without risk, and dragons are guardians of both fortune and lesson. A fascinating aspect of Slavic dragons is their immortality or regenerative powers. Some tales describe dragons whose heads, when cut off, grow back, sometimes even more numerous than before. To defeat such a dragon requires cleverness, magical weapons, or assistance from supernatural allies. This makes the dragon not only a physical threat, but a symbol of enduring challenge, reminding the listener that some dangers cannot be destroyed by strength alone. They require wisdom, patience, and courage. Dragons in Slavic myths also have a complex moral dimension. While many are adversaries, others are benevolent or neutral, granting favors to those who show respect. Some are keepers of hidden knowledge, magical herbs, or sacred waters. To encounter a dragon is not always to face death. It can also be an opportunity for learning, growth, and transformation. Imagine a dragon in a hidden cave, surrounded by ancient tomes, glowing crystals, and pools of water that reflect the stars. Its eyes, calm and intelligent, assess whether you are worthy, whether your heart is pure. In this way, the dragon becomes a teacher as well as a test. One common narrative motif in Slavic tales is the kidnapped maiden. Dragons often snatch princesses or fair maidens, taking them to remote lairs, high mountains, or deep forests. The hero's journey is to rescue her, but the dragon is not a mindless captor. It often challenges the hero with riddles, traps, or combat, forcing ingenuity and bravery. These stories echo a universal theme: dragons as barriers between ordinary life and extraordinary reward, obstacles that test character, resolve, and heart. Some dragons are said to hoard knowledge rather than gold, a reflection of the Slavic reverence for hidden wisdom. They may guard sacred texts, magical herbs, or the secrets of the natural world. In some regions, villagers leave offerings at riverbanks, caves, or mountains to appease dragons and gain insight, rain for crops, or protection from disasters. These practices show that dragons are more than monsters. They are forces intertwined with life, death, and the cycles of nature. Another interesting motif is the multi-headed dragon as a reflection of human weakness. Each head may symbolize a different vice or danger: greed, anger, pride, or deceit. The hero must face all these simultaneously, learning to overcome not just the physical creature, but the inner struggles it represents. In this way, the Slavic dragon becomes both external and internal, a mirror of the challenges we carry within ourselves. Dragons also appear in myths about the creation and protection of the world. Some legends describe dragons sleeping beneath mountains or lakes, maintaining balance in the land. Their breathing regulates rivers and storms. Their movements cause earthquakes or shift the terrain. Though terrifying when provoked, these dragons are essential to the harmony of the natural world. To respect them is to respect the land, the rivers, the forests, and the sky. Imagine a quiet evening by a Slavic forest. The wind rustles the trees, the river whispers over stones, and somewhere beneath the earth, a dragon coils in its hidden lair. Its many heads rest peacefully, smoke curling softly from nostrils. The creature listens to the rhythm of life above, attuned to the seasons, the growth of crops, and the movements of animals. It waits, patient and eternal, a guardian of balance, a keeper of both danger and wisdom. In some Slavic legends, dragons also interact with magic and sorcery. Heroes may seek magical weapons to defeat them, potions to lull them to sleep, or enchanted allies to turn the tide of battle. These stories emphasize that dragons are not defeated by mere brute force. They require knowledge, skill, and understanding. The dragon's power is a reflection of the natural and supernatural worlds, intertwined, complex, and enduring. Through all these stories, one theme becomes clear. Slavic dragons are deeply connected to both the land and human morality. They guard, they challenge, they teach, and they test. They remind us that the world is filled with forces beyond our understanding, that courage and wisdom are necessary for survival, and that life itself is a delicate balance between respect and fear, action and patience, desire and humility. So, dear friend, imagine the quiet pulse of the forests, the shimmer of rivers under moonlight, and the hidden presence of dragons beneath hills and stones. Imagine Zmei Gorenik coiled in a deep cave, his many heads watching, breathing smoke and quiet fire. Imagine the water dragons sleeping beneath lakes, waiting for those who honor their power. Imagine the eternal balance maintained by these creatures, whose presence is a reminder of nature, fate, and the mysteries of the unseen world. As you drift further into sleep, let the Slavic dragons become guardians of your dreams. Their scales shimmer in the half-light of imagination, their heads move gently, their breath warms the cool night air, and their wisdom flows softly through your mind. They are eternal, patient, and ever-present, silent teachers of courage, respect, and the hidden forces that shape life. Dragons in Japanese mythology. Now, let us drift gently east across the seas to the islands of Japan, where mist curls over bamboo forests, mountains rise like silent guardians, and rivers shimmer with the reflection of cherry blossoms. Here, dragons are both powerful and gentle, tied to water, wind, and the ever-changing seasons. They are wise, sometimes mischievous, and always intertwined with the cycles of nature and the flow of life. Japanese dragons, known as Ryu or Tatsu, are closely related to the dragons of China, yet they have developed their own unique character over centuries of myth and legend. They are long, serpentine creatures with flowing whiskers, clawed feet, and majestic eyes that see the world with both wisdom and patience. Unlike the fire-breathing European dragons, Japanese dragons rarely breathe fire. Instead, they are often associated with water, rivers, lakes, the rain that nourishes the land, and the seas that surround the islands. Imagine a dragon gliding silently beneath the surface of a tranquil lake. Its scales glimmer like pearls in the sunlight, its whiskers ripple softly in the water, and its eyes hold the serene wisdom of centuries. This dragon is not only a guardian of the lake, but also a guide to those who approach it with respect and humility. One of the most famous Japanese dragons is Ryujin, the dragon god of the sea. Ryujin dwells in a magnificent underwater palace made of coral, shells, and jewels, known as Ryugujo. The palace glows with soft, otherworldly light, reflecting the colors of the ocean and the sun above. Ryujin controls the tides and waves, sending storms or calm seas as he wills. Fishermen and sailors often prayed to him for safe passage, leaving offerings by the shore or tossing gifts into the water. Ryujin is not cruel. He is just, reflecting the balance of the sea, gentle when respected, formidable when angered. Ryujin also possesses magical jewels called the tide jewels, one to raise the tides and one to lower them. These treasures give him control over the oceans, reminding us that dragons in Japanese mythology are deeply intertwined with natural forces. Their power is not arbitrary, it is tied to the harmony and rhythm of the world. Another famous tale involves Yamata no Orochi, a colossal eight-headed, eight-tailed dragon that terrorized the land. Its eyes burned like fire, and its breath scorched the fields, leaving destruction in its path. Yamata no Orochi demanded human sacrifices, and many villages lived in fear of its wrath. Yet the hero, Susanoo, a storm god, confronted the dragon. With clever strategy, Susanoo lured the dragon into drinking sake, which intoxicated it. Once the beast was asleep, he struck, cutting each head in turn and eventually discovering a magical sword within its tail, later named Kusanagi, one of the three sacred treasures of Japan. This story reveals a key theme in Japanese dragon myths: intelligence, cunning, and respect for natural cycles often triumph over brute force alone. The dragon is powerful, yes, but it is not invincible. It follows patterns and rhythms, and those who understand these may succeed where others fail. Japanese dragons are also deeply spiritual. They are often associated with Shinto and Buddhist beliefs, appearing as messengers of the gods or protectors of sacred sites. Some dragons are linked to mountains, such as Mount Fuji, and are believed to dwell in hidden caves or on mist-shrouded peaks. Others appear in rivers and rain clouds, guiding the flow of water and sustaining life on land. In art and culture, Japanese dragons are celebrated in scrolls, carvings, and festivals. They are depicted coiled in clouds or water, their forms elegant and flowing. Their presence is often calming, a reminder of balance, patience, and the subtle yet powerful forces of nature. Dragon motifs appear on temples, shrines, and even kimono fabrics, symbolizing strength, protection, and spiritual guidance. Japanese dragons are also tied to seasonal change. Many myths describe dragons bringing rain during droughts, ensuring that rice fields flourish and harvests are plentiful. Others tell of dragons controlling wind or storms, shaping the rhythm of life for both humans and animals. Their movements are harmonious with the world, never arbitrary, reflecting the Japanese reverence for balance between humanity and nature. Imagine a quiet Japanese valley at dawn. Mist curls over the river, and the cherry blossoms sway gently in the breeze. Beneath the water, a dragon stirs. Its scales catch the soft light, its whiskers ripple, and its eyes, deep and knowing, watch the flow of the river. Slowly, it rises, coiling gracefully around the rocks, before disappearing again beneath the calm surface. Its presence is unseen by most, but felt by all. The river flows smoothly, the crops grow, and the world remains in balance. In addition to Ryujin and Yamata, no Orochi, countless other dragons appear in Japanese folklore, each with unique characteristics. Some are protectors of temples, living for centuries and guiding priests and monks. Others are shapeshifters, capable of transforming into humans or animals to test the virtue of those they encounter. Some dragons are mischievous, bringing small storms or tricking villagers, yet they are never malicious without cause. They act according to the harmony of the world and the respect shown to them. Japanese dragon myths emphasize harmony, patience, and respect. The dragons are not mindless monsters, nor are they merely guardians of treasure. They are the embodiment of natural law, flowing water, seasonal cycles, and spiritual wisdom. To encounter a dragon in Japanese myth is to learn humility, courage, and the importance of understanding the world around you. As your eyes grow heavy, imagine drifting over a quiet lake at twilight. The sky is painted with soft hues of pink and violet, and the water reflects the fading light. Beneath the surface, the dragon coils, peaceful and eternal, a guardian of life and balance. It stirs occasionally, sending gentle ripples across the water, reminding you of the subtle rhythms that govern the world. Its presence is soothing, powerful, yet calm, a silent guide through the cycles of nature and life. Japanese dragons teach us that power can be gentle, that wisdom often comes in quiet forms, and that the natural world is alive with unseen forces, patiently shaping the world for those who respect it. As you drift into sleep, let the Ryu carry you through rivers, clouds, and mist, shrouded mountains, guiding your dreams with the calm strength of ages past. Dragons in Southeast Asian mythology. Now, let us drift southward across warm tropical seas into the lush landscapes of Southeast Asia. Here, dense jungles hum with the sound of insects and birds. Rivers wind like silver ribbons through the land, and mountains rise like ancient sentinels shrouded in mist. In this vibrant world, dragons are both earthly and divine, often connected to water, fertility, protection, and spiritual guidance. In Southeast Asian cultures, dragons are closely tied to rivers, rain, and agriculture, reflecting the deep importance of water in sustaining life. They are serpentine in form, elegant and long, with scales that shimmer like sunlight on rippling water. Their heads are often adorned with antler-like horns, long flowing whiskers, and expressive eyes, combining elements of many animals to symbolize wisdom, strength, and divinity. In Vietnam, dragons, or rong, are revered as bringers of rain and life. Vietnamese mythology tells that the Vietnamese people are descended from the union of a dragon lord and a fairy. This dragon lord represents strength, power, and protection, while the fairy embodies grace and creativity. From this union came a line of people destined to live in harmony with the land and its natural forces. Dragons are seen as benevolent, guiding rivers, shaping mountains, and ensuring that crops flourish in fertile valleys. Imagine now the Red River winding through the misty highlands of northern Vietnam. Beneath its waters, a dragon coils, its scales catching the sunlight like molten gold. Its eyes gleam with ancient wisdom, and its presence is felt in every ripple and current. Farmers pray to the dragon for rain during dry seasons, leaving offerings at riverbanks or performing dances and ceremonies to honor its power. The dragon's gift is life itself, flowing silently through the land. In Thailand and Laos, dragons, often called naga, are similarly associated with water. They dwell in rivers, lakes, and underground waterways, guarding treasures, sacred spaces, and the boundaries between the human world and the spiritual realm. Naga are believed to control floods and droughts, and their movements in the rivers are said to shape the land. Many temples in the region depict Naga in intricate carvings and sculptures, winding around staircases and roofs, symbolizing protection, spiritual guidance, and the flow of life. The Naga are also central to Buddhist mythology in Southeast Asia. One famous story tells of a Naga named Mukalinda who protected the Buddha during meditation. As heavy rains fell, the Naga coiled around the Buddha, shielding him with its massive, hooded head until the storm passed. In this tale, the dragon is not a foe, but a guardian, embodying wisdom, patience, and protection. It reminds us that dragons in Southeast Asia are often forces of harmony, balancing the human world with the natural and spiritual realms. In Indonesia, dragons appear in legends across the archipelago, often tied to volcanoes, rivers, and mountains. Some are guardians of sacred temples, their presence ensuring that the spiritual energy of the land remains intact. Others are protectors of the villages, appearing during times of crisis to warn, guide, or defend. The forms of these dragons are varied. Some are winged, some serpentine, some adorned with elaborate crests and horns, reflecting the rich artistic traditions of the region. One striking theme in Southeast Asian dragon mythology is the connection between dragons and fertility and prosperity. During planting and harvest seasons, communities perform rituals and dances to honor the dragons, asking for abundant crops, healthy livestock, and rain in the right measure. The dragon's presence is a reminder that life is a cycle dependent on water, soil, and the unseen forces that flow through the world. It is both guardian and benefactor, sustaining life with quiet, patient power. Some Southeast Asian dragons are shapeshifters, able to assume human form to interact with people. They may teach, warn, or guide, appearing as wise elders or mysterious travelers. Others are more enigmatic, existing in hidden realms beneath mountains or lakes, revealed only to those who approach with respect, courage, and humility. To encounter such a dragon is to glimpse the deep connection between humanity, nature, and the divine. Imagine a misty rice terrace at dawn, dew clinging to each stalk. In the reflection of the water, you see the shadow of a dragon moving beneath the surface, long and graceful, its scales shimmering with sunlight and water. The villagers leave small offerings, acknowledging the dragon's presence and asking for blessings. The water flows smoothly, nourishes the crops, and life continues in harmony, guided by the silent wisdom of the dragon beneath. In Cambodia, dragons are closely associated with rain and storms, vital for sustaining agriculture in the tropical climate. They are sometimes depicted in temple reliefs, coiling around pillars, their bodies adorned with intricate patterns symbolizing the flow of water and energy. Here, the dragon is both protective and powerful, a force to be respected, whose moods influence life, death, and prosperity. In all of Southeast Asia, dragons are deeply spiritual. They represent balance between human society and nature, between the physical and the spiritual, between power and wisdom. They teach lessons about respect, patience, and understanding of the natural world. Unlike some dragons in other cultures, they are rarely malevolent without cause. Their actions are measured, tied to the harmony of the environment and the cycles of life. As your eyes grow heavier, imagine drifting down a slow river through dense jungle, the air warm and fragrant with flowers and wet earth. Beneath the rippling water coils a dragon, its body long and flexible, scales glinting in soft sunlight that filters through the trees. Its eyes are calm, wise, and ancient. Occasionally, it raises its head to glance at the world above, then sinks back into the gentle currents, maintaining the balance of water, land, and life. Southeast Asian dragons remind us of the quiet power in patience, the harmony in balance, and the blessings that flow when respect is shown to nature and the unseen forces that guide it. They are guardians of life, wisdom, and the cycles of the world, teaching that strength is not always shown in destruction, but often in careful, flowing presence. Dragons in Mesoamerican mythology. Let us drift across the seas and deserts to the lands of Mesoamerica, where jungles are dense and alive, rivers weave through the mountains, and ancient pyramids rise under the sun like silent guardians of history. In these lands, the home of the Maya, Aztec, and other civilizations, dragons are not merely monsters or guardians of treasure. They are divine, symbolic, and deeply intertwined with creation, life, and the cosmos. The most famous dragon-like being in Mesoamerican mythology is Quetzalcoatl, the feathered serpent. Imagine a vast sky over the highlands, sunlight glinting off green forests and rivers, and in that sky, a long, sinuous serpent rises, covered in shimmering green and blue feathers that catch the light with every movement. Its eyes are wise and knowing. Its tongue flicks in and out like a whisper of wind, and its wings, though feathered, not membranous, spread wide, carrying it across both earth and sky. Quetzalcoatl is more than a dragon. It is a creator, a god who brings life, order, and knowledge to the world. In Aztec tradition, Quetzalcoatl helped create humanity by mixing the bones of previous generations with his own divine essence, giving humans not only life, but culture, art, and the gift of knowledge. Its serpentine body represents the earth, the fertility of the land, and the cycles of nature, while its feathers link it to the heavens, a bridge between the terrestrial and the divine. In Maya mythology, similar feathered serpents appear, sometimes under the name Kukulkan, moving through temples and sacred sites. Imagine climbing the steps of a pyramid at dawn. Mist curls along the stone, and the shadows of carved serpents seem to move as the sun rises. These serpents symbolize the connection between earth and sky, humans and gods, life and the divine. When the sun hits the temple at a certain angle, it appears as though Kukulkan itself is descending, shimmering along the stairs. The Maya believed that such moments brought blessings and messages from the divine. Unlike European dragons that hoard gold, or Norse dragons that embody greed, Mesoamerican dragons are linked to knowledge, creation, and transformation. They bring life-giving rain, guide the movements of the stars, and teach humans the arts of civilization, agriculture, writing, astronomy, and more. In this way, the dragon is both protector and teacher, a symbol of growth, understanding, and divine favor. Imagine the rivers of Mesoamerica flowing through lush valleys. Beneath the surface, a feathered serpent moves, stirring the water with its long, flexible body. Fish scatter, plants sway, and the current flows more swiftly, guided by the dragon's presence. Farmers and priests recognize its influence, performing rituals to honor the dragon, asking for fertile soil, timely rains, and a bountiful harvest. The dragon's movements mirror the rhythm of life itself, connecting the heavens, the land, and humanity in an unbroken circle. Another fascinating aspect of Mesoamerican dragons is their role in cosmic order. They are often associated with the sun, moon, stars, and the movement of the planets. In Aztec cosmology, Quetzalcoatl is part of a larger pantheon that regulates the cycles of time, including the creation and destruction of worlds. The dragon is a mediator between chaos and order, life and death, the mortal and the divine. Its power is not random or destructive. It is balanced, necessary, and essential to the harmony of the universe. In some stories, dragons also embody dualities. They can bring rain or drought, fertility or famine, creation or destruction. The human relationship with them is one of respect and understanding. Offerings, ceremonies, and rituals are ways to honor the dragon's power and ensure that it flows in harmony with human needs. Disrespect or ignorance can lead to disaster, while reverence brings prosperity and guidance. Picture now a temple at sunset, its stones glowing with the last light of day. Shadows of carved feathered serpents stretch across the steps. From the jungle beyond, the distant cry of birds echoes like the dragon's call. You can almost see Quetzalcoatl rising from the treetops, its scales shimmering, feathers rustling, eyes wise and eternal. It glides silently, overseeing the land, teaching the people, guiding rivers, and shaping the rhythm of life. Its presence is both awe-inspiring and comforting, a reminder that the forces of the world are alive, intelligent, and watchful. Mesoamerican dragons are also central to ritual and prophecy. Priests would interpret signs from the dragon's movements or the patterns in which it appeared in visions or dreams. These signs guided decisions about planting, war, trade, and governance. In this way, dragons were not simply mythical creatures, they were living symbols of the divine order, influencing every aspect of human life, from the smallest village to the largest city. Some myths also describe dragons as protectors of sacred knowledge hidden in caves or atop mountains. Only those who are worthy, pure of heart, courageous, and wise could approach and learn from them. To meet a dragon was to glimpse the cosmic order itself, to feel the pulse of life and time, and to understand that the human journey is intertwined with forces far greater than oneself. As your eyes grow heavier, imagine standing on the banks of a river in the heart of an ancient Mesoamerican jungle. Mist rises from the water, the air is heavy with the scent of flowers and wet earth. Beneath the surface, a feathered serpent stirs, its scales reflecting dappled sunlight, its body long and flowing, moving gracefully through the currents. It watches silently, guiding the rhythm of the river, the fertility of the land, and the destiny of the people. Its presence is invisible to most, but felt in every movement of life. Mesoamerican dragons teach us that power and wisdom are intertwined, that creation and destruction are part of the same cycle, and that respect for the unseen forces of the world is essential for harmony. They remind us that life itself is a balance of earth, water, sky, and spirit, and that every action is part of a greater cosmic rhythm. Dragons in African mythology. Now, let us drift gently across deserts, savannas, and tropical forests to the vast and varied lands of Africa, where ancient civilizations flourished along rivers like the Nile, and where mountains, lakes, and forests hold stories older than memory. In African mythology, dragons, though not always called by that name, appear as serpentine and powerful beings, guardians of rivers, mountains, and sacred places, and as symbols of chaos, wisdom, and transformation. In much of African folklore, dragons or dragon-like creatures are often associated with water. Across West Africa, tales speak of giant serpents that dwell in rivers, lakes, or underground springs. These creatures are sometimes called nyami nyami, mami wata, or simply river serpents. They embody the life-giving and destructive power of water, representing both nourishment and danger. Imagine a wide river at dusk, the sun dipping below the horizon, and beneath the gently flowing water coils a massive serpent. Its scales shimmer in tones of emerald and sapphire, catching the last light, and its eyes glow softly, reflecting the sky and the world around it. One of the most famous river dragons is Nyami Nyami from the Tonga people near the Zambezi River and the Kariba Dam in Zimbabwe. Nyami Nyami is said to dwell in the waters of the Zambezi. Its long body twisting through rapids and pools. The dragon is benevolent yet fearsome. It provides fish and water, sustains life along the river, and protects the people, yet it can unleash floods and storms when angered. Its head is often depicted with the features of a fish, the body like a serpent, and scales shining like sunlight on water. The Tonga people tell stories of Nyami Nyami interacting with humans, sometimes helping them, sometimes warning them. When the Kariba Dam was built in the 1950s, floods and accidents were attributed to the dragon, who was believed to be angry at the disruption of its home. Even today, people leave offerings to honor Nyami Nyami, asking for protection and blessings. In this way, dragons in African mythology are deeply intertwined with both the natural world and human life, reminding us that power and respect must coexist. Dragons in Africa are also often associated with fertility, creation, and protection. In many stories, serpentine creatures govern the cycles of rivers and rainfall, ensuring crops grow and communities thrive. They are guardians of sacred spaces, forests, mountains, and lakes, and sometimes they protect hidden treasures or sacred knowledge. Villagers may leave gifts, perform dances, or recite prayers to honor these dragons, maintaining harmony between human activity and the forces of nature. Imagine a lush, tropical forest at dawn, dew glistening on broad leaves. From a hidden spring, a dragon slowly emerges, its long body coiled gracefully, scales reflecting the rising sun in a shimmering mosaic of green and gold. It moves silently, aware of every rustle of leaves, every bird's song, every whisper of the wind. Its presence is powerful, yet calm, a reminder of the unseen guardianship that flows through the natural world. In some African myths, dragons embody chaos and challenge. They may threaten villages, demand sacrifices, or test the bravery of heroes. These dragons are not merely destructive. They are forces that teach lessons, shape destiny, and reveal the strength and character of those who confront them. A hero who faces a river serpent, climbs a mountain to confront a guardian dragon, or seeks wisdom from a hidden dragon, demonstrates courage, wisdom, and respect for the balance of life. Dragons also appear in African myth as shapeshifters or spirits. They may take on human or animal forms to interact with people, guiding, testing, or protecting them. Some legends speak of dragons appearing in dreams, their eyes luminous, their voices echoing the wisdom of the ages. To see a dragon in these stories is to glimpse forces larger than oneself, to feel the pulse of life and nature, and to understand that every creature, every river, and every mountain carries energy and intelligence. In North African traditions, serpentine dragons are sometimes linked to cosmic forces, connecting earth and sky, human and divine. They appear in stories of creation, of the movement of the stars, and of the cycles of life and death. Some dragons guard sacred relics or temples, ensuring that the knowledge of ancestors is preserved and that the natural and spiritual worlds remain in balance. Imagine a quiet evening along the banks of the Nile. The water flows smoothly, reflecting the colors of the sunset, and beneath its surface, a dragon stirs. Its long body twists gracefully, scales catching the fading light, eyes glowing softly. It watches the land, guides the river's current, and ensures that life continues along the banks. Fishermen sense its presence, leaving offerings and performing rituals to honor the dragon's protection. The river flows, the crops grow, and the world remains in balance, guided by the wisdom and power of this ancient guardian. African dragons are often multifaceted symbols. They represent life and death, creation and destruction, chaos and order, protection and challenge. They teach that power is not merely physical strength, but understanding, patience, and respect. They remind us that the world is alive, filled with forces that shape destiny, and that harmony requires humility and reverence. As your breathing slows and your eyes grow heavier, imagine drifting across a vast African landscape, rivers winding through forests, mountains rising in mist, lakes shimmering under the sun. Beneath every surface, hidden from view, coils a dragon, eternal, patient, and wise. It moves silently, guarding life, guiding rivers, protecting sacred places, and teaching lessons that endure across generations. Its presence is calm, yet powerful, a gentle reminder that the world is alive with unseen forces. African dragons teach us that respect for nature, courage in the face of challenge, and understanding of unseen forces are essential to life. They are guardians, teachers, and eternal, symbols of the balance that sustains all living things. Dragons in Indigenous Australian mythology. Now, let us drift southward across vast oceans to the ancient lands of Australia, where deserts stretch endlessly, rivers carve deep valleys, and forests whisper with the voices of countless creatures. In these lands, the stories of Indigenous Australians are as old as the stones, the wind, and the stars themselves. Here, dragons appear in the form of the rainbow serpent, a powerful, spiritual being, guardian of water, life, and creation. The rainbow serpent is perhaps the most iconic dragon-like figure in Aboriginal mythology. Imagine a long, sinuous creature, its scales shimmering with every color of the rainbow, moving silently across the land. Its body flows through rivers, lakes, and underground waterholes, connecting the earth to the sky, shaping mountains and valleys, and leaving deep tracks that become watercourses and sacred sites. Its eyes glow with the wisdom of countless generations, and its breath brings both life and change to the land. The rainbow serpent is a creator. It is said to have emerged at the beginning of time, forming the landscapes, carving rivers, and creating life wherever it moved. Its movements were deliberate and majestic, stretching across plains, forests, and deserts, leaving fertile soil and water holes for the creatures and people who would follow. Imagine standing on a sun-baked plain and sensing the gentle ripple of energy beneath your feet, knowing that a being of immense power and wisdom has passed this way, shaping the world for life to flourish. In many Indigenous Australian cultures, the rainbow serpent is associated with water and fertility. It ensures that rivers flow, rains fall, and crops or food sources thrive. Its presence is both nurturing and formidable. It can bring life-giving rain or devastating floods, depending on the balance of respect shown by humans. Communities honor the serpent through songs, dances, and ceremonies, maintaining harmony with the environment and recognizing that the dragon is both guardian and teacher. Imagine a river at dawn, mist curling along its surface. Beneath the rippling water, the rainbow serpent coils gracefully. Its scales glimmer like sunlight on the water, reflecting the colors of the sky and the earth. Fish dart in and out of its shadow. Reeds sway gently, and the air hums with life. Its movements are calm, powerful, and precise, guiding the flow of water and life through the land. It watches over the people who depend on its rivers, rewarding respect and balance with sustenance and protection. The rainbow serpent also represents law, order, and social harmony. In many stories, it is responsible for setting the rules that govern relationships, behavior, and the natural world. It teaches humans to respect one another, the environment, and the spiritual forces that permeate the land. To encounter the rainbow serpent is to encounter not just a dragon, but the guiding principles of life itself, a reminder of the responsibilities that come with existence and the interconnectedness of all living things. In some regions, the rainbow serpent is linked to dreamtime stories, the ancient narratives that explain the creation of the world, the stars, animals, and human societies. These stories describe the serpent's journey across the land, shaping rivers, mountains, and valleys, creating sacred sites and leaving marks that remain visible today as part of the natural landscape. Its presence is eternal, a thread that connects the past, present, and future, guiding generations through wisdom and tradition. The rainbow serpent is sometimes depicted as both male and female, embodying duality and balance. Its form may be coiled in water, stretching across hills or emerging from underground, but its essence represents the interconnectedness of life, the cycles of creation and destruction, and the harmony of the natural world. It teaches that power and wisdom are not singular or aggressive, but flowing, adaptable, and patient. Imagine standing in a sacred valley at sunset. The air is still, and the sky is painted with shades of orange and purple. A waterhole glimmers in the fading light, and beneath its surface, the rainbow serpent stirs. Its body moves like a ribbon of color, scales shimmering, eyes wise and calm. It rises slowly, stretching along the riverbank, shaping the earth with its presence, then disappears beneath the water again, leaving only ripples and the feeling of its eternal watchfulness. The rainbow serpent also serves as a guardian of knowledge and life. It protects sacred sites, hidden water sources, and the teachings of the ancestors. Only those who approach with respect, understanding, and humility can hope to witness or benefit from its presence. Its guidance is subtle, gentle, and profound, shaping communities and landscapes alike. In Indigenous Australian mythology, dragons are not threats to be defeated, but forces to be understood and respected. They teach patience, reverence, and harmony. They remind humans that life is interconnected, that water, land, and spirit are bound together, and that wisdom comes from listening observing and acting with care. As your eyes grow heavier, imagine drifting along a gently flowing river, the rainbow serpent moving silently beneath the surface. Its scales shimmer with the colors of the rainbow, reflecting the sky and the surrounding land. The water flows smoothly, nourishing life above, while the serpent maintains the balance below. Birds call softly, reeds sway, and the air is warm and fragrant. The serpent moves with patience and power, a timeless guardian of creation, teaching the rhythm of life to all who dwell in its domain. Indigenous Australian dragons remind us that true strength lies in harmony, that wisdom comes from understanding natural and spiritual forces, and that respect and reverence for the world around us are the foundation of life. They are eternal, patient, and ever present, silently guiding, protecting, and nurturing the land and its people. Dragons in Polynesian mythology. Now let us drift gently across the vast, sparkling expanse of the Pacific Ocean, where islands rise like emerald gems from the endless blue, and where waves whisper the secrets of the deep. In Polynesian mythology, dragons are not often depicted as fire-breathing monsters, but as majestic, serpentine guardians of the seas, mountains, and sacred lands. They embody the power of nature, the rhythm of the ocean, and the deep spiritual connections between humans and the world around them. In Polynesian stories, dragons often take the form of long, serpentine creatures that glide through water or coil among volcanic peaks. Their scales shimmer like sunlight on the waves. Their eyes are wise and luminous, and their movements are graceful yet powerful. These dragons are connected to the elements, sea, wind, and earth, and they maintain balance in both the natural and spiritual worlds. One of the most well-known Polynesian dragon-like figures is Mo'o from Hawaiian mythology. Mo'o are giant water lizards, or serpentine dragons, that inhabit freshwater ponds, rivers, and fish ponds. They are guardians of freshwater sources, sacred spaces, and ancestral lands. Mo'o can be benevolent, protecting communities, guiding humans, and ensuring abundant fish and clean water. But they can also be formidable, bringing storms, floods, or illness to those who disrespect them. Imagine a quiet freshwater pond at dawn, mist curling above the water. Beneath the surface, a mo'o coils, scales glinting in soft light, its eyes calm yet alert, aware of every ripple, every movement, every breath. In some stories, mo'o are associated with ancestral spirits and the protection of knowledge. They guard sacred lands and are often linked to genealogy, history, and the teachings passed down through generations. To encounter a mo'o is to witness the connection between the living and the ancestral, between the physical world and the spiritual. Its presence is both a test and a blessing, rewarding respect, courage, and wisdom. Polynesian dragons are also closely connected to volcanoes and mountains, reflecting the dramatic landscapes of the islands. Some legends tell of dragons that dwell within volcanic craters, their movements shaping the terrain, guiding lava flows, and controlling the fertility of the surrounding land. Imagine a volcanic peak at twilight, the sky painted with pinks and orange hues. Beneath the summit, a dragon stirs, its body coiled within molten rock, its eyes glowing like embers. When it moves, the earth trembles, lava flows gently toward the valleys, and the land is renewed, fertile, and alive. Dragons in Polynesian mythology are deeply tied to water and navigation. The ocean is the lifeblood of island communities, and the dragons that dwell in the sea are seen as guides and protectors. They may appear as long serpentine forms beneath waves, shaping currents, calming storms, or guiding canoes safely to distant shores. Sailors honor these dragons, leaving offerings and observing rituals to ensure safe passage and continued harmony with the ocean. Some Polynesian dragons are also shapeshifters, taking human or animal form to interact with humans, offer guidance, or deliver warnings. Their intelligence is profound, their movements deliberate, and their awareness of the natural world is unmatched. They teach humans to respect the sea, the land, and the balance that sustains life. To see a dragon in Polynesian stories is to witness wisdom embodied in form, a guardian of both people and nature. Imagine drifting over a quiet reef at dawn, the water clear and calm. Beneath the surface, a dragon moves, its long body undulating gracefully, scales shimmering with iridescent colors. Fish scatter and swirl around it. Coral sways in the gentle current, and the air above is filled with the soft sound of waves lapping against the shore. The dragon moves with purpose, shaping currents, guiding life, and maintaining harmony beneath the water's surface. Its presence is powerful, yet serene, a living reminder of the ocean's mysteries and the unseen forces that guide life. Polynesian dragons are often celebrated in ritual, art, and oral storytelling. Their images appear in carvings, tattoos, and chants, connecting people to the dragon's power and wisdom. They symbolize strength, protection, balance, and connection to both the land and the sea. Communities honor these dragons through festivals, dances, and offerings, recognizing their role in sustaining life, guiding humans, and maintaining harmony. In some islands, dragons are also linked to weather and seasonal cycles. They bring rains for crops, calm the seas for safe fishing, and ensure that storms follow their natural rhythm. Their presence is a reminder that humans are part of a larger world, one governed by powerful and intelligent forces. To live in harmony with dragons is to live in harmony with the land, the ocean, and the cycles of life itself. As your eyes grow heavy, imagine standing on a quiet beach at sunset, the waves gently lapping against the shore. Beneath the water, a dragon coils gracefully, scales reflecting the colors of the fading sky. Its eyes watch the horizon, aware of every movement in the sea, every change in the wind, every pulse of life along the shore. It moves silently, protecting the water, guiding currents, and maintaining balance. Its presence is eternal, patient, and wise, a reminder of the unseen guardians of the islands. Polynesian dragons teach us that strength is intertwined with harmony, that wisdom is found in patience and observation, and that the natural world is alive with powerful, unseen forces. They are guardians, teachers, and silent guides, moving through the oceans, rivers, and mountains, connecting humanity to the spiritual and natural worlds. Dragons in Inuit and Arctic mythology. Now let us drift northward across frozen seas and snow-covered tundras to the lands of the Inuit and other Arctic peoples, where the wind whispers over ice fields, auroras dance across the night sky, and life persists in harmony with the harshest conditions on Earth. In these icy landscapes, dragons appear not as fire-breathing monsters, but as serpentine and spiritual beings connected to the elements, ice, wind, water, and the delicate balance of survival in a frozen world. In Inuit mythology, dragons are often depicted as enormous serpents or sea serpents living in deep lakes, under glaciers, or beneath the Arctic Ocean. They are sometimes called tijuruk or other local names, depending on the region. Imagine a vast icy bay at dawn. The water is dark and cold. Icebergs float silently, and beneath the frigid surface coils a dragon, its body long and flexible, scales glinting like frost, eyes luminous and wise. Its presence is felt in the gentle rise and fall of waves, in the currents of the water, and in the rhythm of the wind across the ice. The tijuruk is both guardian and harbinger. It watches over marine life, guiding fish and seals, maintaining the balance of the waters that sustain human communities. Its movements are deliberate and patient, slow yet powerful, shaping the flow of tides and currents. Fishermen and hunters honor these dragons, leaving offerings or performing rituals to ensure safe hunting and bountiful catches. The dragon is a reminder that survival in the Arctic depends not only on skill, but also on respect for the unseen forces of nature. Some stories describe dragons dwelling beneath glaciers or in hidden ice caves, places that humans rarely see. These dragons are guardians of the mysteries of the frozen world, watching silently over the rhythms of ice, snow, and water. Their breath can create blizzards, shift icebergs, or calm storms. They are both formidable and protective, reminding humans that the Arctic is alive with powerful forces, invisible yet undeniable. Imagine now a frozen river at twilight, the sky painted with soft hues of lavender and rose. Beneath the ice, a dragon coils gracefully, its scales reflecting the dim light, creating a shimmering mosaic of frost and shadow. Its eyes gleam with wisdom, and its body moves in harmony with the water and ice, shaping the currents, guiding marine life, and maintaining balance. The land and sea feel its presence, a silent guardian of life in the harsh Arctic environment. Dragons in Inuit mythology are also closely tied to transformation and the cycles of life. They are seen as intermediaries between the physical and spiritual worlds, guiding souls, shaping the land, and teaching humans about the delicate balance required to survive. To encounter a dragon is to witness wisdom, patience, and the interconnectedness of all living things, even in a land as unforgiving as the Arctic. Some Arctic dragons are described as protectors of sacred knowledge, hiding secrets beneath ice or within the depths of the sea. Only those who approach with respect, understanding, and humility can hope to witness or benefit from these dragons. They embody the principle that life in the Arctic is sustained by observation, patience, and reverence for the forces beyond human control. Imagine standing on the edge of an icy fjord at night, auroras shimmering overhead in green and purple waves. The water beneath is dark and still, yet you sense movement below. A dragon stirs, coiling beneath the surface, its scales catching the faint light of the aurora, eyes glowing softly. Its body moves with patience, guiding the flow of the water, the migration of fish, and the rhythm of life in the frozen world. Its presence is eternal, calm, and watchful, a silent reminder of the balance that sustains life in the harshest climates. In some legends, Arctic dragons are linked to storms, ice shifts, and natural disasters, their actions reflecting the delicate balance of the environment. A sudden blizzard or shifting ice may be attributed to a dragon's movement, reminding humans to act with respect, patience, and understanding. These dragons teach that power is not only physical strength, but also awareness, timing, and wisdom. They are forces that shape the environment, guide life, and maintain harmony. Dragons in Arctic mythology are often multifaceted symbols. They embody protection, challenge, survival, and wisdom, reflecting the interdependence of all creatures in extreme conditions. Their presence reminds humans that life is a delicate balance, that every action has consequences, and that understanding the unseen forces of the world is essential for survival and prosperity. As your eyes grow heavier, imagine drifting across an icy fjord, the wind whispering gently, the water glimmering beneath the auroras. Beneath the surface coils a dragon, its long body flowing like a ribbon of frost and water. Its scales glimmer softly, eyes watchful and serene. It moves with purpose, guiding currents, sustaining life, and maintaining balance in the frozen world. The wind hums through the ice, the auroras pulse softly, and the dragon remains eternal, patient, and wise. Inuit and Arctic dragons teach us that wisdom is patience, strength is harmony, and survival depends on understanding and respecting the natural and spiritual forces that surround us. They are guardians, teachers, and silent guides, eternal presences shaping the cycles of life in some of the most extreme environments on Earth. Dragons in native North American mythology. Now, let us drift gently across the forests, rivers, and plains of North America, where mountains rise like ancient sentinels and rivers carve winding paths through valleys and canyons. Here, among the indigenous peoples of North America, dragons appear in many forms: serpentine water spirits, sky serpents, thunderbirds with dragon-like power, and guardian beings of sacred places. They are deeply connected to the natural world, to the cycles of life, and to the spiritual forces that shape existence. In many native North American traditions, dragons are closely associated with water. They dwell in rivers, lakes, and underground springs, their long serpentine bodies twisting and flowing beneath the surface. They bring life-giving water, guide fish and other aquatic creatures, and maintain the balance of ecosystems. Imagine a quiet river at dawn, mist rising from the surface, and beneath the rippling water coils a dragon. Its scales shimmer like sunlight on the waves, eyes calm and knowing, movements deliberate and patient. Its presence is felt in the gentle rise and fall of the river, in the rhythm of the currents, and in the life that flourishes along its banks. One example comes from the Pacific Northwest, where tribes such as the Haida and Tlingit tell stories of serpentine water spirits that resemble dragons. These beings guard the waters, guide humans in their interactions with fish and marine life, and maintain spiritual balance. Their forms are long and flowing, often adorned with intricate patterns, and they move with the grace of water itself. To encounter one of these dragons in legend is to witness wisdom embodied in form, a guardian of both the natural and spiritual worlds. Dragons are also associated with thunder, lightning, and storms in certain traditions. The Hopi and other southwestern tribes describe sky serpents, or celestial dragons, that control weather, bringing rain, wind, or storms to sustain life or to teach lessons. Imagine standing on a desert plain, the sun dipping behind mesas, and a dragon stretching across the sky, clouds swirling around its serpentine body, lightning tracing the curves of its form. Its eyes gleam with wisdom, and its presence commands respect, teaching humans about balance, patience, and the power of nature. Some dragons in native North American mythology are connected to creation and the shaping of the land. They carve valleys, guide rivers, and form mountains with their movement. Imagine a dragon coiling through a canyon, its massive body shaping the cliffs, leaving behind waterfalls and pools, and creating fertile ground for life to flourish. Its presence is invisible to most, yet its influence is felt in the landscape itself, in the rivers, the forests, and the creatures that inhabit the land. In addition, dragons are often guardians of sacred knowledge and ancestral wisdom. They appear in visions, dreams, and stories, teaching humans about the cycles of life, the connection between the physical and spiritual worlds, and the importance of respecting nature. Their presence is both protective and instructive, guiding communities in their interactions with the environment, the seasons, and one another. Imagine a quiet forest. At twilight, the air thick with the scent of pine and earth. Beneath the surface of a hidden lake, a dragon coils gracefully. Its scales glimmer like liquid silver, reflecting the fading light. Its eyes watch the world with calm wisdom, observing fish darting through the water, birds settling in the trees, and humans passing quietly along the shore. The dragon's presence is subtle, yet profound, guiding the flow of life in the forest and reminding humans of the unseen forces that sustain it. In many stories, dragons serve as teachers and testers. They challenge humans to demonstrate courage, respect, and understanding. A warrior or hunter may encounter a dragon while seeking guidance, a sacred site, or spiritual insight. The dragon's trials are not cruel. They are lessons in patience, observation, and harmony. Those who succeed gain wisdom, blessings, or protection, while those who act recklessly are gently warned of the consequences of imbalance or disrespect. Some dragons in native North American myths are shapeshifters, able to assume human, animal, or elemental forms. They may appear as elders, serpents, or other forms to interact with humans, guide them, or deliver messages. Their intelligence is profound. their awareness encompassing both the natural and spiritual worlds. To see such a dragon is to glimpse forces beyond the ordinary, to feel the pulse of life and the balance of existence itself. Dragons are also integral to ritual and storytelling. Their images appear in totems, carvings, and ceremonial art, connecting people to the dragon's power, protection, and guidance. Songs, dances, and stories recount their movements, their influence over life, and their role in shaping the physical and spiritual world. These dragons are living symbols, reminders of humanity's deep connection to nature and the unseen forces that sustain it. As your eyes grow heavier, imagine drifting across a calm river at night. The water reflects the soft glow of the moon, and beneath the surface coils a dragon, its long body undulating gently. Its scales shimmer like starlight on the water, eyes calm and knowing. It moves slowly, guiding the currents, watching over the life in and around the river, and maintaining balance in the forest, mountains, and plains. Its presence is eternal, patient, and wise, a silent guardian of life and harmony. Native North American dragons teach us that power is intertwined with wisdom, that strength lies in balance and patience, and that respect for nature and the spiritual forces that inhabit it is essential for life. They are guardians, teachers, and eternal presences, shaping the flow of rivers, the growth of forests, and the cycles of life across the land. Dragons in Celtic mythology. Now, let us drift across misty hills, emerald forests, and rugged coastlines to the lands of ancient Celtic peoples, Wales, Ireland, Scotland, and Brittany, where mountains rise like ancient guardians, rivers wind through green valleys, and the air is thick with the whispers of old magic. In Celtic mythology, dragons are not simply beasts of fire or destruction. They are symbols of power, sovereignty, wisdom, and the cycles of nature, deeply intertwined with the land itself. Celtic dragons are often depicted as serpentine or winged creatures, long and powerful, with scales that shimmer in tones of emerald, gold, and crimson. Their eyes glint with ancient knowledge. Their claws grip the earth with strength, and their wings, when unfurled, cast shadows that ripple across valleys and forests. These dragons are guardians of land, water, and sacred sites, their presence marking the balance of natural and spiritual power. Imagine a misty valley at dawn. The dew clings to moss-covered stones, and the soft murmur of a stream echoes through the trees. Beneath the surface of the stream coils a dragon, scales glinting like liquid green, its eyes reflecting centuries of wisdom. It moves with patience, guiding the flow of water, shaping the land, and ensuring harmony between nature and the human world. Its presence is felt even by those who do not see it, in the fertility of the fields and the quiet strength of the mountains. One of the most famous Celtic dragons is the Red Dragon of Wales, known as Y Draig Goch. Its story is deeply entwined with legend, prophecy, and national identity. According to myth, the Red Dragon battled a white dragon, representing foreign invaders beneath the hills of Wales. Their struggle shaped the landscape, and the Red Dragon's eventual triumph symbolized the enduring strength resilience, and sovereignty of the land and its people. Imagine the dragons twisting and turning, their roars echoing across valleys, their claws marking the earth, each movement a dance of power and fate. Celtic dragons are also deeply connected to water and weather. They inhabit lakes, rivers, and coastal waters, controlling rain, storms, and the fertility of the land. In Irish mythology, serpentine water dragons often guard sacred wells or lakes, ensuring that the life-giving waters flow steadily and that the surrounding land remains fertile. Their movements beneath the surface shape currents, guide fish, and maintain harmony in aquatic ecosystems. They are powerful, yet their actions are deliberate and measured, reflecting the balance of nature. In addition, dragons in Celtic lore are tied to sovereignty and kingship. To see or hear a dragon often signifies the presence of divine authority, the legitimacy of rule, or the guidance of ancestral spirits. Some legends tell of heroes or kings who encounter dragons as tests, proving their worth, courage, and wisdom. A dragon's approval is a sign of favor, a blessing that ensures the prosperity of both the ruler and the land. Imagine standing on a hilltop at twilight, the mist curling around your feet, and a dragon rising from a nearby forest. Its eyes glint with understanding, assessing the character of the one who approaches, testing patience and humility. Dragons are also closely linked to treasures, both material and spiritual. They guard sacred sites, ancient knowledge, and hidden riches, not merely for possession, but as symbols of responsibility, wisdom, and balance. Heroes who approach these dragons must demonstrate respect and insight. Only then are they allowed to access what the dragon protects. These encounters are lessons in humility, courage, and the understanding that true treasure is often found in wisdom and harmony rather than gold or gems. Imagine now a twilight forest, shadows stretching across mossy stones. A dragon coils among ancient oaks, its scales reflecting fading sunlight, eyes luminous and calm. It watches silently as creatures move through the undergrowth. Rivers ripple through the valley, and humans wander nearby, unaware of the eternal presence beneath the canopy. Its movements are slow, deliberate, and precise, shaping the rhythm of life, guarding sacred spaces, and maintaining the balance between the natural and spiritual worlds. Celtic dragons also embody duality and transformation. They represent chaos and order, destruction and creation, power and wisdom. Their presence reminds humans that life is a cycle and that understanding and respecting these cycles is essential. A dragon's roar may herald a storm or change, but it also signals renewal, growth, and the constant motion of the world. They teach patience, resilience, and the importance of living in harmony with the forces of nature. In Celtic art and culture, dragons are celebrated in stone carvings, manuscripts, and oral storytelling. They coil along hilltops, are etched into standing stones, and appear in illuminated manuscripts, symbolizing protection, wisdom, and the enduring power of the land. Their presence in stories is both entertaining and instructive, offering lessons about courage, responsibility, and the interconnectedness of all things. As your eyes grow heavier, imagine drifting across a mist-covered valley in the moonlight. The air is cool and fragrant with forest scents. Beneath a hidden lake, a dragon coils gracefully, scales shimmering in soft silver and green. Its eyes watch the world with patience, guiding the flow of water, shaping the land, and maintaining balance. Its presence is eternal, calm, and wise, a silent guardian of valleys, forests, and sacred sites. The wind hums softly through the trees, and the dragon's influence is felt in every ripple of water and every rustle of leaves. Celtic dragons teach us that strength is intertwined with wisdoms, that power is tempered by responsibility, and that harmony with nature is essential for life. They are guardians, teachers, and eternal presences, shaping landscapes, guiding humanity, and maintaining the balance between the physical and spiritual worlds. Dragons in medieval European mythology. Now let us drift gently across foggy hills, stone castles, and bustling medieval villages, where knights ride through forests, minstrels sing tales of heroes, and the world is alive with mystery and legend. In medieval Europe, dragons take on forms both terrifying and majestic, reflecting humanity's fascination with power, greed, and the unknown. They appear in countless stories, illuminated manuscripts, and tapestries, embodying both danger and the lessons of courage, virtue, and wisdom. Medieval European dragons are often depicted as massive, winged, fire-breathing beasts, their scales as hard as iron, claws sharp as swords, and eyes gleaming with cunning intelligence. They may fly across the skies, coil through mountains, or lurk in deep caves filled with treasure. Imagine a shadow stretching across a foggy valley, wings casting darkness over the trees, scales catching the first light of dawn, and eyes glowing with ancient awareness. These dragons are awe-inspiring, their presence demanding respect, caution, and sometimes fear. One of the most enduring legends is that of Saint George and the Dragon, where a brave knight confronts a dragon terrorizing a town. The dragon represents not just physical danger, but also chaos, greed, and the darker forces that threaten communities. Imagine the knight approaching a vast, dark cavern, the air thick with smoke and heat. The dragon coils within, its eyes gleaming, scales glinting, and claws digging into the stone. Each breath it exhales sends ripples of heat across the chamber, and its presence is both terrifying and majestic. The tale teaches courage, moral strength, and the triumph of good over malevolent power. Dragons in medieval European mythology are also closely associated with treasure and hoarding, reflecting human fears and desires. They guard gold, jewels, and priceless artifacts in deep caves, mountains, or hidden valleys. Their hoarding is symbolic. Dragons embody greed and temptation, testing the virtues of heroes who seek to challenge them. Imagine wandering through a labyrinthine cavern, the walls glittering with gold and gemstones, and a dragon coiled atop the hoard, eyes never leaving the intruder. Its body moves with deliberate power, every scale shimmering, every breath heavy with warning. This is not just a physical trial, but a moral and spiritual one. In addition, dragons are connected to nature and elemental forces. Many stories describe them as controlling storms, rivers, or volcanic activity. Their movements are thought to influence weather patterns, earthquakes, or other natural events. Imagine a dragon soaring above a stormy landscape, wings beating against the wind, fire glowing from its mouth, lightning flickering in the clouds. Its presence reminds humans of the unpredictable and formidable power of nature, urging respect and caution. Dragons in medieval Europe are often depicted as enemies and challenges to be overcome, but they also symbolize wisdom and knowledge. Some tales tell of dragons guarding not just gold, but secrets, ancient wisdom, or sacred knowledge. A hero who approaches the dragon with respect and insight may gain more than wealth. They may gain understanding, courage, and spiritual growth. The dragon, though dangerous, is not merely a monster. It is a teacher, a test, and a guide. Imagine a medieval village at twilight, the church bells ringing softly, the smell of smoke from hearths in the air. Beyond the hills, a dragon coils around a mountain peak, scales glinting in the fading light. It moves silently, watching the land, aware of the humans below, testing those who venture too close. Its presence is both protective and challenging, shaping the world and teaching lessons about courage, wisdom, and balance. Dragons also embody dualities in European medieval thought. They are destructive and protective, terrifying and wise, obstacles and teachers. They represent greed and wisdom, chaos and order, danger and opportunity. A dragon's presence reminds humans that life is a balance of forces, that courage and morality are tested in the face of danger, and that respect for powerful forces, whether natural, spiritual, or moral, is essential. In medieval art, dragons are celebrated in illuminated manuscripts, tapestries, and carvings, often coiled around castles, clashing with knights, or intertwined with natural and magical landscapes. Their intricate depictions reflect human fascination with these creatures, capturing both fear and admiration. Every scale, wing, and claw is depicted with care, emphasizing the power, majesty, and danger inherent in the dragon form. Imagine drifting through a misty valley at night where the moonlight glints off scales in hidden caves. A dragon coils within, its wings folded, eyes glowing softly, breath warm and heavy. It moves with calm power, shaping the air, listening to the world outside, and maintaining balance in its domain. Its presence is eternal, patient, and wise, a silent guardian, and a reminder of the lessons learned through courage, patience, and respect. Medieval European dragons teach us that strength is intertwined with virtue, that courage and wisdom are tested through challenge, and that understanding and respect for powerful forces are essential for harmony. They are guardians, teachers, and eternal symbols of the balance between danger and guidance, chaos and order, greed and wisdom. Dragons in modern mythology and pop culture. Now, let us drift gently from ancient forests, mountains, and oceans into the landscapes of imagination and culture. that shape our modern world. Dragons, though rooted in centuries of myth and folklore, have taken on new forms in literature, film, games, and art, becoming enduring symbols of power, wisdom, and wonder. They continue to captivate our minds, teaching lessons, inspiring creativity, and carrying forward the mysteries of the past into the present and future. In modern mythology, dragons are incredibly diverse. Some are noble and wise, guiding heroes and serving as mentors or guardians. Others are terrifying and destructive, representing chaos, greed, or the challenges that must be overcome. Imagine a dragon perched atop a mountain of clouds, scales shimmering with the colors of the sky, wings spread wide, eyes glowing with ancient intelligence. Its presence is majestic and inspiring, a creature that embodies the limitless possibilities of imagination. One of the most influential modern dragons is Smaug from J.R.R. Tolkien's The Hobbit. Smaug is a creature of cunning and greed, guarding a mountain of treasure with unmatched vigilance. Imagine approaching a dark cavern, the smell of gold and stone filling the air, and seeing Smaug coil across the treasure, eyes sharp, scales glinting, breath warm and heavy. He is both awe-inspiring and fearsome, a lesson in the dangers of avarice and the challenge of confronting one's fears. Tolkien's dragons carry echoes of ancient European mythology, but they are also fully alive in the imagination, breathing life into stories that endure through generations. Dragons in modern literature also explore friendship, guidance, and transformation. Consider the dragons in Anne McCaffrey's Dragon Riders of Pern, where dragons bond with humans to create deep emotional and telepathic connections. Imagine a dragon coiled in a sunlit valley, wings folded gracefully, eyes reflecting both curiosity and wisdom. Its bond with a human companion is profound, a meeting of minds and spirits. Here, dragons are not merely beasts, they are partners, mentors, and extensions of human courage and intuition. In popular culture, dragons also appear in films, television, and animation, often blending myth, fantasy, and moral storytelling. From the serpentine Shenron in Dragon Ball, who grants wishes and represents cosmic balance, to the gentle yet powerful dragons in How to Train Your Dragon, these creatures teach lessons of courage, understanding, and harmony. Imagine a night sky illuminated by dragon wings, flying silently across mountains and oceans, each movement graceful and deliberate, carrying with it the essence of wonder and imagination. Modern games, from tabletop role-playing adventures to immersive video games, allow dragons to interact with humans in creative and interactive ways. They may serve as guardians of treasure, allies in battle, or wise mentors guiding players through fantastical worlds. Each dragon is carefully imagined, detailed, and imbued with personality, intelligence, and history. Imagine entering a virtual realm where a dragon's scales glint under the sun, its eyes tracking your movement, wings unfurling as it speaks with a voice full of gravitas and wisdom. The experience is immersive, connecting players to the timeless allure of dragons. Dragons, in modern culture, also explore moral and philosophical themes. They challenge heroes and audiences to confront greed, pride, fear, and the limits of courage. They encourage reflection on the relationship between humanity and the natural world, the balance of power and the pursuit of wisdom. Imagine a dragon perched on a cliff at sunset, overlooking a forest, its wings folding gracefully, eyes shimmering with intelligence. It watches quietly, a symbol of patience, understanding, and the delicate balance between awe and respect. In addition, dragons have become symbols of identity, culture, and art. They appear in tattoos, paintings, music, and literature, embodying ideas of power, mystery, and imagination. They are celebrated not just as creatures of fantasy, but as reflections of human creativity, resilience, and the longing to explore the unknown. Imagine walking through a gallery where dragons of every shape, color, and form adorn the walls. Each one tells a story, a dream, or a lesson, connecting viewers to the timeless magic that these creatures carry. Modern dragons often retain their connection to nature and the elements, echoing ancient traditions. They may breathe fire, control storms, shape landscapes, or swim through oceans and rivers. They remind us that even in imagined worlds, dragons are linked to the forces of creation, balance, and power. Imagine a dragon gliding over a stormy sea, scales reflecting flashes of lightning, wings beating against the wind. Its presence is commanding yet serene, a reminder that life and imagination are intertwined with forces beyond ordinary understanding. Dragons also continue to inspire storytelling across generations, from bedtime stories to epic novels, from fantasy films to role-playing adventures. They capture the human desire for wonder, adventure, and the exploration of the unknown. Imagine a child reading beneath a soft lamplight, the pages of a book revealing dragons coiled in forests, soaring above mountains, or resting beside hidden treasures. Each story becomes a portal, allowing the imagination to wander freely, guided by creatures that embody mystery, wisdom, and beauty. As your eyes grow heavier, imagine drifting through a fantastical landscape where dragons of every type move gracefully. Some glide above towering mountains, wings glinting in moonlight. Some coil beneath serene lakes, scales shimmering with subtle colors. Others perch atop ancient towers, watching, waiting, and guiding. Their presence is eternal, patient, and wise, a living connection between the imagination, the lessons of myth, and the wonder of creation. Modern dragons teach us that courage is not only physical, but also moral, that wisdom comes from understanding, and that imagination is a bridge to the unknown and the timeless. They are guardians, teachers, and companions of dreams, blending the ancient with the contemporary, the real with the imagined, and the seen with the unseen. Now, with a smile on your face, you will have a good understanding of the history of dragons, from the chaos serpents of ancient myth to the beloved icons of modern fantasy. May this story keep you company tonight, whether it carries you into dreams or lets you drift peacefully to sleep. Good night, dear friend. See you next time.